to go.
Also, I responded to your message, Leah.
I saw. Thank you.
I hope that helped.
Yes.
But yes, we are back.
Oh.
Oh, I am so ready to play. Let's just say that, like, my week has been all, like, super drawn out. And so, having my two favorite games back to back, like, at the end of the week has been, like, my goal. So I'm being fed now.
Yeah. It ended up working out that way because of scheduling things, but yeah, we're here and we're ready to game.
I'm ready to do a video game.
Oh, well then I don't know what to tell you, but this is not...
Tabletop is video game.
Oh!
It is a good time.
Actually...
Shameless plug.
Hang on, I can do that voice really good. He's like, I'm actually...
Actually... Actually...
Leah?
Yep.
You're not allowed to shoot me like that. You're not allowed to kill me like that.
You're welcome. You can have it. All yours.
Are we committing to the bit?
If you want, up to you. I was mostly joking.
I'm gonna ruminate on it. If I don't have a better idea, we're committing to the bit.
It's your skull. Take it and run.
No, for sure. But also, if I can't come up with anything better, we're committing to the bit. I'm just warning you in advance. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
Salutes.
Sorry. Y'all ready to play some D&D and go around the horn?
Heck yeah.
Nose goes.
Nose
Nose
goes.
on. Did we get Skelly 3 weeks in a row with this bit?
I think Skelly and Leah are tied.
Nose.
Oh, there it is.
I muted in the opposite direction, so I did say it, but I muted as I said it.
Oh, no.
Okay. Hi, I'm Skelly Alpha. I stream on Twitch and can be found on Blue Sky under the same names. I have a very packed schedule next week, full of fun stuff with collaborations with people, including one with Saris here on Monday. We're going back into really bad Scrunkly Cat afternoon because things have turned dire.
Oh my god.
On Tuesday, I'll be doing a collaboration with Pal Pocky, where we're going to be spinning the Mario power-up wheel and drawing our OCs and power-ups for fun, doing some kind of draw pile or something similar. And Wednesday, I'm going to be starting a playthrough of Control with Mocking Moth. And the rest of the week, I'll have a bunch of other fun stuff, too. That's pretty much me. Also, Outlaws Gambit on Friday, which will be here as well. That's me, and I'll pass it to Kaz.
Hello, I'm Kaztastrophe Kos. You can find me mostly on Instagram and Blue Sky. Right now I'm kind of debating on just kind of stepping away from social media for a little bit because my brain is overwhelmed and I've been doing nothing but living and breathing this competition build, but if I am posting, you'll find me there. If I'm not, you'll find me in like a week. But yeah, that's about me. Just doing my thing. So I'm gonna pass the torch along to Leah.
Hello, I'm Leah, Amusing Thalia. I am doing a few different things, but today I am here on this channel doing this. Mondays and Tuesdays, I stream on my channel at Amusing Thalia. I'm also on Blue Sky, where you can also find at Xanillis Grim, who's also in here. And in addition to that, I run a game on Distortion Devil's channel, Connor, on Fridays, Cosmos Guide to the Cosmos. I'll be around in other streams other than that, but that's the stuff I do. You can find me there, I guess. Yeah. Zan, I mentioned you. You're up.
Oh, I'm Leo's favorite. Let's go. You can catch me, Xanos Grim, over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Xanos Grim, on Mondays at 7 p.m. PST for some Stalwart Souls. Looks like there might not be a Stalwart Souls this week, but every other week we should be able to do so. D&D campaign around with my friends. Then on Tuesdays, twitch.tv/Distortion Devil at 1 p.m. PST for some Vecna Eve of Ruin. Then Thursdays, twitch.tv/Montyglue at 7 p.m. PST for some Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Friday, twitch.tv/Distortion Devil again at around 3:30 p.m. PST for some Cazador's Guide to the Cosmos. Then Saturdays, twitch.tv/The Unexpectables for some Gateway. And then here every other Sunday, including right now, twitch.tv/Burnout Vaughn, where you're clearly at right now, right? Right? And that's me. So I think I will send it to Saris.
Hello, you can find me all over the internet at Tixdixel, where I am gonna be doing some art soon, so keep an eye out for that. In addition to that, you can find me tomorrow for, as Scaly mentioned, a Scrunkly Cat afternoon. And then you can catch me on Friday for more Cazador's Guide to the Cosmos. Normally, I would say Saturday is No Love War Extra. I am so sorry, Vaughn, but I was given one more work assignment, and thus I will not be there.
I predicted it. You're fine.
I'm sorry. This should be the last one, though. Should be the last one. I'm staring menacingly at my bosses. They said that we were supposed to be done by the 20th. That is the 21st. I'm staring at them menacingly. Yeah. That about covers it for this coming week. So as back to you, Vaughn.
Well, thank you. Also, hey, Rocket Bottle, glad you could actually attend live. But yeah, you've already found me here at twitch.tv/Burnout Vaughn. You can find me on Blue Sky and YouTube at Burnout Vaughn, and over on Patreon at Burnout's Bar. This week, yeah, not much going on. It's pretty much just Outlaws Gambit on Friday. So there might be something, maybe not. I might show up on someone else's stream if we decide to do like some like multiplayer games, which is starting to become a thing. But yeah, I'm pretty much free and easy this week. But with that said, I now have to play our lovely theme song so we can get this game underway. So, do-do-do-do.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't thought about My Hero Academia in like a minute.
You know, it only crossed my path again because they have that like Vigilantes spin-off
Yeah,
or whatever.
it kind
Oh,
of fell off a
yeah.
little bit, in my opinion, like, as far as the vibes go, at least for me.
Like, not gonna lie, I loved it, and then I turned into a full-blown MHA hater after like 2021.
Well,
There's some stuff that happened that made me go, ah, okay. Don't need to
No.
finish this.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Boy, that sure was a Shippuden arc, is what I thought of midway through My Hero Academia.
Jeez.
A little bit though.
I love that I love that I unmute and come into like die-hard shonen discussion.
You invited me into the call. You knew what you were doing.
Speaking of knowing what we're doing, I believe I require a recap.
Nose goes.
Nose goes.
I love this. I love this energy.
You know what? I'll be the opposite. I will be happy to offer a recap, sir.
Sure.
To recap where our wanderers left off last time. The strays who sang had found themselves within the city of Skald proper. Having established themselves within the home of Lychee Dordo, an ally of the group, there was a tense but necessary conversation had between one Branson and one Lychee. After meeting with Lychee's contact, myself, Clem, and having some conversations back at Clem's abode, the party had retired to a inn to rest their weary bones, to get some necessary drinks on Razvan's end, to engage in a little wordplay, and to generally learn a little bit more about each other. Conversations were had, drinks were also had, rest was begun, sounds were heard, and on the walk home, Clem had a strange interaction with an enthralled individual. And as everyone went to rest, that, I believe, is where we left off last time.
It is. And Leah, do you currently have a point of inspiration?
I do not.
Go ahead and give yourself one. So, we start off with dreamless, full of sleep, dreamless night, where each of you find yourself, including you, Clem, in what is usually what feels like a state of nothingness, where you go to sleep and then you wake up as if nothing happened. You're awoken by the sounds of song, distant and yet seemingly ever present. The sounds of voices harmonizing as they creep through the windows, more, shall we say, pervasive than even the rays of sunlight that try to poke through the closed curtains. And I'm going to start our day using the same initiative as we ended last session. Starting with, on a non-natural 20, Razvan. It is the morning.
Razvan is going to take a moment to kind of compose himself, clean his fangs a little bit, do kind of a big stretch before kind of getting his equipment ready. Looking over his poetry book as he kind of leaves his room and heads downstairs for hopefully some sort of either meal or the hair of the dog.
For sure. And we will actually pause you there as I invite on the initiative that would next be, technically speaking, Branson, and we'll go ahead and loop a Festial in with that as well.
Well, if Branson wakes up without being awoken, he will just kind of stretch, like, make sure he doesn't hit himself with the hand axe that he's probably still clutching. And then just be like, now time for the laborious part. As he just starts reaching down, grabbing his clothes, and having to spend 10 minutes getting dressed.
Ophestial probably wouldn't have been awoken until he starts to hear the clanking of Branson's armor making noise. He'll wake up, uh, start to find his, discarded clothes and armors and whatnot, and also get ready to go. Before they leave the room, he will stop and look at Branson. I feel like this is pretty well implied, but, the details about me you learned last night, please refrain from bringing them up in mixed company.
Yes, I figured it was implied, but I was going to leave it up to you and just not say anything.
Okay. I'm saying something to make sure that it has been said, but anyways, I'm ready when you are.
You'll just watch he tightens one last strap with his like teeth, and he's like, okay. Then he's also going to do one thing. He's just going to put it. He's going to pick up and then drop between the two beds the orb, still in its sack. Remind me to warn the innkeeper about this, since we'll probably be staying here longer.
Are you just leaving it in the room?
Yeah. That thing's 40 pounds. He's not carrying it around with him every day just because he can.
If you think that's wise.
Hmm?
Well, I mean, anyone could come in this room while we're not here.
Well, that's why I was going to warn the person. I'm going to pay for the next 6 days and just tell him, hey, leave the rooms as they are, and there's a orb in there that we are trying to get destroyed, so it is not dangerous to anyone, but it's currently not dangerous to anyone who doesn't touch it.
Alright. I trust your judgment.
Alright. And then he'll just open the door and be like, after you.
Out of curiosity, before you head out, where do you put the orb, and do you keep it in the bedroll?
Yeah, he's keeping it in the bedroll. He's never taking it out or touching it directly if he can. He's literally putting it between the two beds, so you would literally have to be standing at the window to see, and we're on the 2nd floor, so I hope they have spider climb.
Okay. And the two of you I assume, head downstairs as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Bringing us to, I believe, next is Clem.
Clem would have been up with the sun. The window they've set their bed up in such a way that the one real window in the garden shed that they sleep in, the sunlight hits them right as it's coming up. And I know we're in Skald, it's kind of overcast a lot of the time, but there's still day-night cycle. As Clem would have gotten up, they would have gone about their morning duties, as they, for staying here, do actually maintain some of the gardens and just, watering flowers, trimming some hedges, that kind of thing. And after their kind of dailies, they would make their way to the yard, the kind of lower plaza, and begin kind of as nearby to the inn, so that they could be very easily found, but they're not wanting to disturb them. They don't know what time that these people get up, so they would just, early morning preaching.
And
but this is all probably done by 10 a.m.
Sure. And just for a little bit of a snippet, what is the sermon for today sort of sound and or look like?
And so, you see that with every breath, every step, every moment in your life that you do not give to the people around you, that is a moment of community that you steal from those around you. You see, each one of us is like a leaf on a tree, And fucking no one's around, by the way. Like, fucking, like, no one's
I
really
was
saying-
actually gonna say, roll me a performance check.
I will be happy to.
Like, for sure, you start out and no one's around, but...
Oh my god. That's a natural 20.
With
24.
a total of 24. Sure enough, you start with nobody there, but give it a couple minutes, right? You warm up a little bit, you start preaching your message, and within a solid 10 minutes, you have a crowd. And this is probably one of the first crowds, like really solid, like small. It's small, but you have like a solid 10 to 15 people standing around you. Like, this is probably one of the most solid crowds
Clem
that you've
thinks that they, like,
actually had.
Clem thinks they like hit a gold mine with the plant sort of analogy. So they just really go off on that. Like the grains on a stalk of wheat are individually nothing. But place it in the soil, give it water and time, care, nutrition, and it grows into another stalk of wheat, enough to give more seeds. Or perhaps it works together. Perhaps you grind it in the mill. A extensive effort, yes. But is bread not made from the same material? Do we not all rely on one another in order to survive? Would you, the butcher, be able to make a sandwich without the baker? Would you, the blacksmith, would you be able to ply your trade? Or the merchant here not to bring you metals? It is not about individuals. It is not about the glory that one can hold. It's about the guidance you can give those around you. Because the truest strength that one has is not strength in their self, but how that strength uplifts those around you. It is not the people standing at the top of the pyramid that are the strongest, but those at the bottom who hold everyone else up on their shoulders.
And as you
Ignore not
continue,
those on the bottom. And that's where I can.
So
is
sorry, I'm
really
gonna
good.
cut you off there.
No, that
but
is a perfect spot to go on. And it's just like, and they
But-
continue from there.
As a fun little additional detail, what is your passive perception?
10.
Even on a 10, I'll give you this. You notice something catches your eye. You notice about 3 different individuals who all seem to have a little bit more color to their cheeks, a little bit more of an energy to their posture, and a little bit more of a glint in their eye today. With that-
They would take a break, but continue the sermon on and off.
For sure. And with that, we're going to actually pan back over to Lena. What is Lena doing to get ready this morning?
She would actually, when she leans up in the morning, when she wakes up from probably the sunlight bleeding in through the window, she would almost be like staring into the middle distance for a little while, almost as if she's like lost in thought. Something about being in town kind of like weighing heavy on her mind. She would eventually make her way out of bed, probably a little slower than usual. But probably would stop after she started getting dressed to like look out that window where she sensed the individuals leaving in the night to see if something might stand out a little that might be caught in the brighter day.
Sure. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Okay. Huh. 18.
Okay. So from your position, you don't necessarily see anyone in particular that you recognize from the night before. You don't necessarily see anyone utilizing that back exit as normal, but on the other side where there are some other buildings, right? You do
Okay.
see people seeming to mind their own business, and just as your mind starts to set itself as at ease, you actually, and I should point out we're visualizing through I'm actually going to flavor this if you don't mind with Vern doing a sweep outside.
That's fine.
If
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
okay for the sake of
You might be looking for breakfast while he's at it.
yeah, probably. But you yourself for auditory, just as like peeking through Vern's eye, being able to actually see the world around you, because otherwise let's be transparent. If it were just you looking out the window, you would see the light
Yeah.
and a bit of like green and brown and maybe some like weird like shadowy figures, but like that's not helpful, right? So Vern is seeing, people doing their daily things, people sort of minding their own business, no one really coming and going. What you hear, however, and of course Vern hears it too, but on an 18 perception, you hear the sound of a very perky flute. And it's outside, it's not in the building, otherwise it would be much louder and everyone would hear it. But you do hear the trails almost of a very perky morning flute.
Okay. Lena kind of like rubs her chin, like with a spare hand. And it might be that flute player from last night. What comes to her mind. Might be like their local haunt kind of deal. But she'll note that down, and she will very slowly like get ready for the day, and kind of like for a little while almost hesitate to pick up the halberd before eventually like heading out of the room and to go get the morning meal.
And the four of you meet downstairs, finding yourself greeted with that same open inn that you saw before. To your surprise, you don't see any musicians this morning. You also don't see any other patrons this morning. But you do see that elderly gentleman, actually, unironically, appears to be, as he's standing at the countertop of the bar, seems to be putting out at the 4 different stools that you recognize from the night before, plates that seem to have food on them, and you can actually smell the wafting smell of like freshly baked bread, the tart yet sweet hint of jam, and you also smell the sizzling smell of what appears to be freshly made bacon. And there are what appear to be 4 tankards, 1 at each plate. And it as you come down, he is like actively setting it up for you. At this point, is there anything that the 4 of you wish to discuss over your morning meal, or wish to do as you are partaking in the food that's been provided for you, or are you at this moment just kind of waiting in silence?
I would say Branson's first thing would be, again, just to pay for the next 6 days, like, rooms, and also, again, mention about the orb, and figure out if that's, like, an extra gold, maybe, just to leave it be.
He doesn't seem to respond to the orb in the way that you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead and mark off the 6 days worth.
Okay.
He doesn't seem to say anything. He just accepts the payment.
Branson will just give the most, like, acknowledgement of, yes, I also work retail, I understand. And then he's going to sit down and enjoy the fact that he's had meat three times in the last 2 days after so much, like, vegetables.
It isn't the highest quality, but it certainly is meat.
Lena would probably speak up once she arrives and asks the group, so how did you all sleep?
Same way as I usually do.
It was
In
wonderful
truth-
being in a bed again.
In truth, I did not get too much rest. I was visited last night by another bard, would seem.
Oh,
Oh, you had a visitor.
Yes. One Angelique Bisicare? I don't remember. how to
oh,
say
the
that.
one from yesterday.
Yes, yes.
What did she want?
Again, every time we seem to go a place, a number of bards are suspicious of our presence there. They want to make sure we are not competition, but they seemed amicable and nice enough. I think we left on good terms.
It always makes me wonder about the education of these bards, because Razvan I could understand, but I and Humphrey, what do we do to give off that we would be competition to a bard in any way?
It is difficult to say, because even though you look rather warrior born, you still could be, I don't know, a good drummer.
It seems like they take their work very seriously and hold it in high regard, so...
The
Indeed.
old
Having a
man
stranger
turns
come-
to you. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Please finish what you were going to say.
Well, having a stranger come and potentially threaten your territory is... I don't know. I understand, I guess.
The old man turns to you, Branson, points and says, "Axe thrower," and then immediately resumes to what he was doing before.
Branson will look confused and remember, oh yeah, I saw that happen once, probably back when he was a kid, and he's like, you know what, fair counterpoint.
If you wanted to continue a conversation with them, perchance, I believe when I got up this morning, I heard a rather loud flute being played somewhere nearby the premises through my window. They might be nearby.
And I suppose that is one avenue of exploration we could take, but what is everyone else's plan today?
I have no immediate plan or idea, mostly because Klim said they would not be free to help us until at least dusk, so... Unless you guys come up with something, my plan was to day drink and wait.
I am certainly not opposed to day drinking, but I suppose we can try to use this time
Just to
wisely.
be
as we
clear,
can.
I believe, just because I want to be clear, I don't know if is that a mismemory on Branson's part or your part, Vaughn.
It might have been a mishearing on my part, because I thought Klim said that they would meet us again around, like, at least the evening time.
Yeah, no. I believe I said that they are free around. They are do things all the way up until then, but they are free anytime after dawn.
Ah, okay. Then just strike that from the record.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear. I didn't want to sorry to interrupt, Zan.
Right, you're good. Well, if we are to wait here for Clem, then I suppose we will enjoy our time in the morning.
Well, it's also, we know nothing of where to get anywhere in this town, and we make everyone feel uneasy when we walk through it. It'd be better if we at least knew where we were going, and we need Klim for that. Or Lychee,
might
but I'm
be
pretty sure he doesn't want to see me anymore.
It might be pertinent to attempt to check possibly the market wards, see if we can purchase any extra equipment or anything that we may need while we're in town.
Was there an issue with Lychee?
No, not at all.
I more meant with Branson. He said,
Ah, yes, of course. My bad.
Branson's,
you're good.
Branson's gonna give the stone grinding head turn to him because he knows how loud Lychee was. There's no way they did not hear Lychee yell at him.
Sure, but it's more that, people get hot-headed a lot of times. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of a working relationship.
Well, let's just say Branson doesn't feel great about it, and so he's expecting the worst and hoping to be proven wrong, maybe?
Ah, fair. I do not believe that you have burned the bridge, Branson.
Well, we'll only know when we see smoke.
Fair enough.
But I guess
Wait,
heading to the markets isn't at least somewhat something, but if we're doing that, you're just gonna watch he pulls up his hood. Let's try not to make a scene. It's the thing that we are the worst at.
I don't know. Sometimes it is good to be noticed.
Razvan is right in that regard. If I might provide a small recommendation. Like Branson raised up their hood just now, right?
Yep.
Lena's just gonna reach over with a hand and gently lower the hood back down, and will say, "If you attempt to look like you're hiding something, that will draw a lot of undue attention and rumor. Act like you fit in. It's the best way."
Counterpoint, every third person we passed said snake monster yesterday. I think that would be better to distance myself from visibility.
Just act like as if it rolls off you like water.
It does. But still, I would rather not constantly have to deal with it.
Brenton, I think what Lena's trying to say is that you look more suspicious hiding it than to just
Yes,
exist.
I've learned that with my current condition. While people still point and whisper, if I act like I'm just a person walking down the street, people don't seem to really do much more. All the rumors go around to people that draw eyes, and someone hunched over having a hood drawn over them is going to get people talking. If you see someone walking down the street like that isn't you, it causes a similar circumstance. You might look their way and be like, huh.
Fine, but I'm pulling the hood up if I hear one more child scream.
That's fair. That's fair. She says as she puts a piece of bread in her mouth ooh, don't gotta counter for that.
You might get a impression from that. Branson's used to being pretty different, so he kind of knows the ways to make it easiest for him. But yeah, if there's nothing else, Branson's just going to literally engulf all of his food and down this tankard with is it water, ale?
It is water. And something that all four of you would note is that it is warm in that way that water that has been recently boiled but has been cooling is warm.
Hmm.
Yeah, otherwise Lena's just gonna chow the heck down.
Okay. And I will just ask, for the sake of things, is there anything else you all would like to do before you leave the inn?
Roswell will check the bounty board just in case, but it's just going to be sipping on his morning rosé, getting his morning rations in, as it were, and
Sure.
yeah, just overall getting ready.
Sure. You don't notice any changes to the shall we say wanted and or missing side of the board, but you do notice an additional very short, very tiny piece of parchment has been added to the, shall we say, forum, the thread.
Roswell will look at said parchment.
I've sent it to you.
Razvan will smile at the little missive that he reads and head back to the group.
Sure.
Before leaving, Branson will also remember. Also, if I forgot to tell you yesterday, the only way we might be able to get some funds while we're here, and he just goes over to the bounty board, pulls off the missing poster, and he gives them all the details on let me check the name, Marie Kirchfeld. If you hear anything about her, or at least hear the name, would be good information.
It may give us a better reputation to find this person, I suppose.
True, but I would also want to find out how long ago she went missing, because if it's more than 2 weeks, the chances of her being alive are very slim.
Can you send me that name real quick?
It's in notes and handouts.
Notes and hands out. Got it. Thank you.
No problem. I only just now remembered it, and I was like, I made a point to make note about that. We should go back and check. But yeah, if that's it. If anyone else has anything to do, I think we're ready.
Yep. And I would assume, since it's not been a very long period of time, the four of you would remember where Lychee took you towards the small garden plaza that is in the center of Lower Skald. And you, on the passive perceptions that I know you all have, would be able to hear the sermon that Clem is giving, and easily you would be able to recognize that very familiar voice.
There's Clem. Talking a lot about plants for some reason.
And I assume that I would I actually, with my passive perception, I have not great perception, see them as they walk in?
Well, I think the better question is, are y'all stealthing?
No.
Then yeah.
We don't have a single stealthy bone in our party.
Yeah, I would find an ending point. It's the kind of thing where it would seem like someone would want to talk to me, and so I would come to a natural conclusion, talk to that person, and then begin weaving my way over to the group. My apologies. I would have been at the inn sooner, but that's the first time I've drawn a crowd in. Well, since I've been here.
Oh, well, we didn't mean to even disturb you. We just need to go shopping.
Yes, I would be happy to assist. What exactly would you be looking for, shopping-wise? Would kind of look across the group of you and kind of do kind of a thinking pose, tapping the lips a little bit. You do seem like discerning people. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do recall you mentioning something of your origins not being from around here, yes?
Well, most of us.
He's looking
yes,
at Branson and Razvan in particular.
all of us but Lena are not from Carthagus.
I nod at Lena, kind of like an acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm. She nods back.
Should you not have anything in particular you wish to specifically look for, I do have some suggestions, but it is your day, and I am at your service, and does kind of like a half bow.
Well, then Branson's turn. What do you all need? I will look for things.
I want for very little, in truth, but considering you have some manner of investigations to complete, I imagine that would be the first place to go. No?
Where exactly?
We were intending to go to the market because I don't know how many of us actually need things that need to be bought with the coin we just acquired, and he'll just kind of lean down and whisper, be sought after certain things that may not be approved on by certain guilds.
Yes, that is more what I was referring to. To find what you're looking for. If we were to get to a market, what you would find is fish, crops, vegetables, bread, the like, unless you're looking for day-to-day items or a meal, market is not what you're. Should you desire something more specific, let's say, and looks at Branson in particular, Master Branson, are you looking for items of interest or items of self-defense?
I'm looking to have at least 5, as you just watch him tap his actually no, yeah, 5. His 4 hand axes on his little L hook, and then tapping his sheathed axe on his hip. I would like to have 4 things made, so that way they can kill anything I come across here.
Nods a little bit. Well, I may be able to assist you on that matter, but I will need to. I will need to leverage something in the meantime, and I don't necessarily think that would be a. I would like to set that up first. However, I do have something we can do while I am looking into that specific area of interest of yours. Would you be willing to trust me on this matter?
Yes, considering you're like the only person in here besides Lychee we know we could trust.
Lovely. And I would like it to be said that merely by me taking you here, I am showing you quite a good bit of goodwill. Please, and do not take this in the wrong way, do not take this lightly. And we'll just kind of turn on heel and begin walking in a very specific direction. Just kind of towards an alley, actually.
Branson will hear that, immediately shut his mouth, wait for everyone to walk ahead of him, and then just take up the back of the group and hope he does not fuck anything up.
I am going to begin heading towards the Lear estate.
You are. Okay.
Thank you for this, Clem.
Clem would do a kind of like dismissive hand wave, like who's still walking away, just kind of like a no worries sort of thing.
I believe this is the right track. It is. As you take the party down many a different paths, the road seems almost winding, albeit clearly more straight and narrow. You move between alleyways, between buildings of various stages of wealth, right? Some homes that aren't the worst, as I've mentioned before, but clearly could use some additional love and attention. You pass by a number of different shops in good standing. You see a shop with, as you would expect, a sort of smell of pastry and bread and that sort of almost sweetness in the air as you pass by a building with a sign in the shape of a bread loaf. You pay not attention to the name of it. You pass by another shop. In its window, you see very clearly a little orange cat sleeping. So it is difficult for you to actually see what is on the inside. And then eventually you come across a building that stands out in a number of different ways. For one, as you approach this building, you see trellises with a number of different vines, all of which house a variety of different flowers and also what appear to be some sort of berries, coloring as red, almost like a wine, and a deep purple, almost blue. You see some flowers that are almost like a ghastly white with blue tinge to them. And you see well-kept bushes, as if at the feet, framing these trellises in front of this house, this wooden, yet very well cared for house. The stones that lead you to this singular story building also seem to be well kept, though there is clear wear to them. It appears that whoever owns this estate, and it does, for the record, look more so like a house than it does a shop. And whoever owns it has done a tremendous amount of work to keep it cared for. You see the wood stained cherry, almost, in its coloration. You see the shingles on the roof have actually been painted with a blue to them, as if a little bit of additional flair, a little bit of additional life has been added to the house itself. And as these different details catch your eye, the first real thing that you notice, and all of you see this, is on the wooden door frame. Its door clearly locked with a with one of those latched handles, a door knocker, very, very small, but very clear seen. On the front, made of iron. And to the right of all of these features, you see a little ornate wooden box with filigree and feather carvings, with what you recognize, Clem, as being it's not quite a lily in the way that we understand it, but it's a flower native to Carticus that bears the same significance as a white lily. And in this box, though covered, you see a little tiny paper scroll. And there's something about the air of this place that's also sets it apart. It feels, I would not call it somber, but mysterious. It has a level of sincerity and a level of gravity that no other building surrounding it maintains. And yet it is just a building. Yet these are just plants. But upon taking a step forward, you all feel it in your chest, as it feels almost like your heart has dropped into your stomach. Your throat aching to tighten up, almost like a pre-cry. And yet you don't know where this is coming from.
I would kind of just stride towards it pretty confidently. It has the gate on the outside, which is kind of ivy covered, correct?
Yes, and
And
it's
Oh, go ahead.
latched, but you can reach it.
Yeah, I would just kind of and open it and do kind of almost almost like a like a greeter, sort of like bow and give kind of like an enter sort of motion.
Are we supposed to be here? She would say hesitatingly after the feeling washes over her.
No, But I am, and that is goodwill enough. I have a feeling that soon you will be, but it depends on how much she likes you. Just and looks at uh Razvan in particular with this. Be yourself, and I have a feeling this will go most well. You said the front was locked. I believe I have a key for it, correct?
You do.
I would kind of stride up to the front door and unlock it, and give a just three quick uh, and I'll be in a moment. I have some gardening in the front to tend to. Please enter. And I would just turn and like pull out, go to my little like herbalism kit pouch and pull out some like clippers and just start like tending to some of the garden out here.
So, it's interesting because as the door opens a little bit as you unlock it, Clem, you turn to go do some clipping and you hear a voice. I appreciate your gesture, but I do believe you need to be in here as well.
Oh, if you wish, Master. Rivka, it's a pleasure to hear your voice. And I walk in.
You walk in. Does everyone else follow?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
Branson will bring
The
up the
room-
rear and try not to, like, draw attention.
Sure. The room that you see initially, it's pretty sizable, all things considered. You notice immediately to your left a sort of table, wooden table with 6 stools at it. In the center, you see a single candle lit, the candle itself large and ornate, as if it's been carved carefully by a knife. And instead of just being white or any solid color, you see an arrangement of colors, as if the design itself has been carefully colored and the wax carefully dyed to create a sort of pattern along the side. You notice beside it that there is a little cup as well, like a not super ornate, not super fancy, not indicating of wealth, but a goblet cup made of polished wood that sits beside it. You notice as well above this table, there is actually a hanging sign from the ceiling reading queries and quandaries. You notice as well on the box besides the setup is a little, or besides the setup on the table, there is a little box. But the box itself, though it looks to be well cared for, it is simply wooden. Another thing that you notice is in the center of the room, you see what appears to be some sort of desk, and beside it, a wooden perch. It almost looks like a hat stand, but it is more so of a perch, as you see a little black corvid preening its feathers besides this wooden desk and its accompanied chair. Along the back wall and across the left side, you see an arrangement of bookshelves with an innumerable amount of tchotchkes and ornaments and books lining every possible surface. And you see, additionally, over to your right, more potted plants and trellises as if decorating the space. And it is almost like the plants themselves hold up this house, hold up this room. Between them, you see a fireplace, warm, lit, and the surrounding encasement made fully of stone. And beside it, a little bit over, even more so, towards you, is another wooden door. The door is open, and you see a dim yet warm light billowing in from the other side. And following that light, you hear the sound. Well, go ahead and make yourself comfortable. I'll be out there soon.
Would I know about the scroll outside, or is that like she has a letter and hasn't picked it?
Roll me, and I'll give you this with advantage, a religion check.
Here's where I really tip my hand about my character. That's an 8. That's an 18 with a +1.
While it is not a common practice here in Skald, or even in the places of Carticus that you've been to, you recognize that box, and you recognize that the scroll on the inside is not... It's not a letter. That scroll contains a prayer. And in real life terms, you would recognize this as the equivalent of a mezuzah.
Got it. Yeah, I just wanted to be clear about what that
Yep.
was, and whether or not Clem would know.
Yep.
Is there a seat in here?
There, like I said, there's a table immediately to your left. It has 6
Mhm.
stools.
Okay.
You would know that that's the table where she usually does her business. And there is also an administrative desk that's kind of seated, not quite exactly in the middle of the room, but it is towards the middle back.
I would
It's where the
walk
raven is.
Yeah, I would walk up towards the administrative desk and I would pull out a little bit of bird food, which I have for Omen.
Mhm.
And I would like hold it up towards the Corvid and let it have some, and then place it on like the little dish probably nearby, like with the rest of it. And I would go behind the administrative desk and I just pull out a sheaf of paper and ink and quill, and I'm writing something. I will type to you what I'm writing.
Sure. Absolutely.
But Clem walks in and just like goes over and sits down, and seems like they're extremely familiar with this place.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Brant's gonna just sidle up behind Razvan and just lean down and just be like, Razvan, would that happen to be a raven over there?
I believe so.
Haven't seen many of those.
You've seen mine.
Fair, but yours is weird and magic. This is about a different thing.
Kind of nods their head and like, yeah, fair enough. I gesture at the stools and the table, unless you wish to look around.
But yeah, Branson will just keep going. Razvan, remember our talk with Mim.
I do, but it seemed oddly the place to find suspicions.
Well, he gestures outside. He gestures around at all of the plant stuff and everything. It's like, I'm starting to think I should have just used the password here.
Rosano kind of nod at that. And I suppose that is good to know for the future if we have to come back.
All right, we'll gauge them, and maybe we can finally tell someone that isn't in our group about the thing.
He'll nod.
Lena will, like she does whenever she enters anywhere that is like not like an abode of their own or anything like that, will gingerly like lean like the halberd like near the door and just leave it there.
Sure.
She will otherwise kind of like meander, kind of like closer toward like the crow or raven on the on the perch, so to see what Vern thinks. Maybe Vern can make a friend.
So So because of the circumstances, as Vern, is Vern perched in your hair right now?
Yeah, Vern would be taking the usual co-pilot seat, the Ratatouille seat, and sitting on the head.
Go ahead and roll me just a general charisma check, but use Vern's stats.
Okay. Let me see. I do have his let's see. Chris, oh no, it is low. That's okay. 12.
The raven As you are now closer, Lena, it's a bit more clear the shape of the beak and the size of the creature. It kind of turns its head in the way that corvids do to get a better look.
Mm-hmm.
And it eyes you and it blinks. And it looks down to the food that was offered and proceeds to start eating.
Okay.
It just
She
seems
seems to smile a
to.
little bit.
Sorry.
No, you go.
Now, as you smile, you notice that it's just kind of accepted your presence. Like you pass the vibe check. It doesn't seem threatened,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem threatening.
The super intimidating raven. It has
Listen,
a
I've
threatening
played Curse
aura.
of Strahd.
Me, I'm just like imagining that meme. Why is this raven so mad? Just standing next to Vern.
Is there anything else you would like to do?
Other than that, she would just like let her senses like adrift, kind of like just taking in like the almost eclectic nature. It sounds like of this place.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, and all of you would notice this, there is some incense burning somewhere. Or at least there was. You don't know how fresh it is. You don't know if it's currently happening, but some incense was used not too long ago. Ephestial, what are you doing?
Ophestial would kind of be meandering around the room, looking at everything, um, inspecting plants, trying to see up close, not touching.
Mhm.
Uh, all this stuff feels fairly familiar to him, so he's just kind of like getting the lay of the land.
The thing about the plants that you notice almost immediately is they seem wildly more healthy in comparison to all of the natural life that you have seen in this place. Like the coloration is vibrant. They're very perky. You've noticed even that any bit of like sick or dead bits of plants have been pruned and just clipped off. The raven seems to look at you at one point, acknowledging your presence.
He catches his eye and smiles and waves at him.
Ravens can't wave, but your presence has definitely been acknowledged. And again, as you kind of look about, you're now getting a better view of the kinds of tchotchkes that you see along the wall. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Okay. Will be a 24.
It dawns on you. Some of these quote-unquote tchotchkes aren't tchotchkes at all. And you notice as well, little slips of paper with numbers besides some of them, not all of them, but some of them. And it dawns on you. Some of these things are decorative, and some of these things are spell components.
Again, he's not disrupting anything, but he's definitely
Nope.
taking note.
Sure. And as all of you start to get really settled into this place, you hear footsteps coming in from that other room. And I'm assuming all of you turn to look as this individual steps out into
Ooh,
the room.
we getting art? Ooh.
Art.
Ooh, Sarah's art.
Master Rivka, my dear.
It's a pleasure to see you, Clem. Always.
The pleasure is all mine, of course.
The person that stands before you is cloaked in what appears to be a black and blue sleeved gown. It is, I would not call it plain, certainly not super expensive, but clearly made of slightly higher quality materials. And there is sort of a natural, almost craftsmanship um, to the garments that you are seeing, including the very intricately done head wrap that covers the entirety of this woman's head. She seems to have, again, not necessarily a somber or morose air to her, but rather an air of mystery and sincerity. Almost like, this is gonna sound a little cheesy, but you know how there's that joke that mothers know everything? That's the that is the air that this woman carries. And in her arms, she holds what you now notice is a kettle, an iron kettle. And she walks over to the fireplace and sticks it inside. And in her other hand, you see a tray with cups. One for each of you. And it strikes you as odd, as she was not present in the room when you walked in, and yet she knew exactly how many people would be sitting or standing around the table. Nodding at each of you in acknowledgement, sort of her eyes scan about the place, and she approaches the table and begins to carefully set each and every single one of these cups, again, polished, clearly able to be drunk out of, but made entirely of wood, in front of each and every single one of you. I appreciate your company. I appreciate your presence here. I take it you are friends of Clem?
I'd certainly like to think so.
Hopeful friends, new acquaintances, travelers and strangers, which I know always interest you.
Of course. And I can tell from the air about you, not just your physicality, but the way that you carry yourselves, that there is something different about every single one of you. I have no doubt that is the reason you brought them here, Clem.
I nod kind of knowingly.
I do not believe in such thing as coincidences or chances. And this woman snaps her fingers and the door behind you shuts and latches, as none of you closed it behind you when you entered. How can I offer my services today?
Well,
Roswan will look towards. Go ahead.
Brancelet's kind of like go, lacking a lot of his usual confidence. I have certain needs to protect myself and my comrades here, but unfortunately I cannot do that, considering he's just going to lay his main axe down on the table. This, while a great weapon, cannot kill everything that I encounter
This
in
is
this
not
land.
the place for that, dear
Oh.
Branson.
We
This
talked
is
about
the
that
place
last.
Yes, I apologize. And I'm actually I literally just finished it. I'm literally just finishing up writing a letter, and I like fold it into three. And I would hold it out towards you. There is a blacksmith in one of the upper districts. if you hand them this letter and your weapons, I have very little doubt they will give you what it is that you look for.
Then you'll see Branson pick his axe back off the table, give like a bow of "I'm sorry, I fucked up" to the lady, and then just kind of step back and be like, "Okay, I don't know why we're here now." So
There's like a gentle but dismissive wave, as in a like, don't worry about it.
I give you kind of like a little bit of like a coy smile, Branson, as I hand you the like folded letter.
he will take it and slip it into like just under his breastplate.
I'm gonna send it to you preemptively, Sarah.
Okay. Ah. I take it. Then you do not cognizantly know why you are here. And yet every single one of you has a reason for being here. Fascinating. Let me introduce myself properly. I am Rivka Lear of the Lear Estate. And I do offer my services to those of which need it most. And I can sense from your confusion that you may not know why you need my help, but simply the air about you speaks on your behalf.
Well, with that in mind, I suppose, though you may have already heard of our names by reputation, it would be prudent to introduce ourselves nonetheless. I am Raz van Fleur. He'll bow, taking his hat off.
A pleasure.
Branson.
She nods to you as well.
My name is Elena Mayers, madam.
And you may call me Ophestial.
Ophestial, roll me an insight check.
Oh, that's a 5.
She's giving you a look. It is indeed kind of a maternal look, but there's a sort of sweeping of the eye and a small tug at the corners of her mouth as she looks over you. Ophestial, it is a pleasure. You do not get anything else from that, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I have a question, and it's incredibly pointed. How did you get here? And who brought you? And this question is aimed in particular to Ophestial, Razvan, and Branson.
I can't speak for, I suppose, myself, and we do not mind Branson. We traveled here with 2 more that are unfortunately no longer with us. We were invited to a circus, and from the circus we wandered off into the mists before arriving here in what we now know as Gardagas.
As for what led, well, me at least, an entity which I draw power from, I call the Voice. It promised me 5 years ago that when I was ready, it would lead me to the mists and to a certain man. But to get here, we were led by a powerful, I want to say witch, that we met at the carnival.
Both of you roll me an insight check.
He has a 20.
Natural one.
When you both mentioned the mists, there's almost like a perking of the body language. It's so subtle. Razvan, you unfortunately miss it entirely, but Branson, you see it. You see this sort of combination of intrigue and also that look that people get when their guess is confirmed.
I have one question. Is that look... Is there a smile to that look?
Ever so subtle tugging of the lips, but not much.
Okay. I had to make sure because... he's still worrying about certain people that might give him a certain smile, thanks to that one dream.
Mm-hmm. And then her gaze sweeps over to you, Ephestial, as if looking for an answer.
Well, in my case, it's a little different. I was in the woods I used to make my home in, and mists started to surround me, and I was tempted to come here by who I believe to be the man that Branson is looking for.
I'm going to keep that 5 insight from earlier. But once again, Branson, you notice as Ephestial mentions the mist, that subtle look of almost satisfaction grows just a hair more. And thus I take it you've been wandering ever since, looking for some sort of inkling or direction.
Roughly 2 weeks, yes.
Let me ask you something. And at this point, she turns to you, Lena, as well, and to Vern. I ask the 4. No. Glances to Clem. 5 of you.
Clem is like messing with like a plant in here. I'm not like, because it's like perfectly taken care of, but is like kind of like futzing with the leaves to like so that they are like the most spread out that they could possibly be, and does kind of like a sort of like
What is it that you seek?
Well, we were... Aside from my quest to find and kill the man, we have been tasked with, finding a place here.
She waves you.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
What do you seek? Not an errand on behalf of someone else. What is it that you seek?
the safety of all of those within the mist.
There's a slow nod of acknowledgement.
I don't know yet.
There's another slow nod of acknowledgement.
Lena's head kind of like lowers just a little bit as she seems lost in thought for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Glances back to you, Branson.
This is probably when it gets a little bit more closer to like his usual state and just like in a very subdued tone, like trying to quell the anger that him thinking about this brings up. He's just gonna go, justice.
Nod. Glances to Razvan.
Amuse.
Would you permit an insight check?
Sure.
Okay. You get the sense by the look on her face that she is almost searching you, looking for more insight rather than it's not aggressive for sure. Let us see. I need to pull out a 20, not a 12. There we go. Ooh, okay. What would Rivka gain from a 18?
She'd probably notice that it hurts Razvan to say that aloud, but he's being truthful. His primary source of inspiration is gone, and he's looking for a new one.
Okay. And then turns to a Festial.
I'm here looking for my identity.
You see now what was only slight before is now a little bit more obvious, a very gentle smile. And again, that sort of, you all now see it, that aha, I got it, sort of lights up in her eyes. Well, then I think you all have come to the right place. Please have a seat. There's a sweeping hand gesture as now, almost as if breaking the tension, but not entirely, you hear the tea kettle begin to whistle. And as all of you take seats at this table, she goes over to the kettle and begins to pour each of you a cup of tea. Just from the smell, you can tell it is some type of cinnamony plant-based herbal tea. It's very comforting. It reminds you, each of you, of like a warm hug. She does not pour herself one, though, as she sits at the stool furthest from all of you. Is there anything that you wish to ask before we begin?
Are you native to Cartacus?
I am.
Are there others like ourselves, at least here in Skald, that are not native?
You're gonna make me do a roll. Let me see.
Well, there was that one Loxodon from Ravnica, but
I actually know the answer to this question in character, correct? Based on stuff that we've talked about?
You believe so, yes.
I can actually answer that for not. I have met other people from outside of these realms. In fact, I have a friend from outside of these realms. There's another bard in the city from outside of these realms.
And are all of them met with such suspicion?
No. Well, maybe at first. But they find a home, if they wish to stay.
And there is one more that you do not know of, Clem. But their presence is shrouded to me. I cannot get a good read on them.
I think I know that one.
Well, my questions have been satisfied.
Perfect. Anyone else?
Lena slowly shakes her head.
Okay.
Then at this point, Branson, just to again process elimination, he pretty much figures this is not the case, but he's just going to ask so he knows not to go in circles. Does the word amigue mean anything to you?
Gonna make me roll again. I'm afraid not.
I figured, but process of elimination now.
Of course.
Then Branson will very awkwardly sit down, and I'd say everyone, without even needing to roll an insight, realize Branson seems very awkward, as if he's trying to remember table manners he has long since forgotten.
Well,
I suppose I have another question then.
sure.
The mists, they seem to have hindered us as much as they have sometimes aided us. Do not quite understand their purpose, but was it at random that we arrived in Garticus, or does something or someone want us here?
My friend, I have been questioning the mists for years. There are some who believe that they can be controlled, while others, such as myself, believe that they may be an entity all on their own. But no one has received any answers, and in all of my time of searching, I too have empty hands.
Then, as way of good faith, I can at least tell you one thing I've learned about them.
She looks at you.
Whether by themselves or by something, they are controlled, and it can notice you.
I do not believe that they can be controlled. But I do
Wielded.
believe... Hmm?
Wielded, Branson, not controlled. There is a difference. The
Fair.
light from the sun can kill a plant if left out in it. You can use the sun to grow something, but it is not. You cannot control it.
Well, then perhaps I should elaborate. There is a presence of mind to it, and if you hurt it, it will lash out and notice you.
Perhaps. Perhaps not. It is difficult to say.
These are the observations of Branson that I have come to trust. And these are what we have experienced overall thus far. But you said that you can offer us help. You certainly seem to have a knowledge of this place and potentially even us and our situation that we do not. Could you elaborate on this?
Certainly.
It is at this point where she reaches out towards that box on the table. She slides the lid off and tips the box over, and a deck of cards falls into her hand.
I have, whether or not you call it a blessing or a curse, have seen for myself the works of the mist, and in such have been able to gain, one might say, a sense of foresight. One might say the ability to provide a premonition. And some have said that I am able to provide light within a shrouded darkness. It is one thing that I can offer in my services, but only to those who need it most. She's going to begin to shuffle the deck. When she is finished, she holds it out to each of you to draw a card.
Crossbond will take one.
Branson will fiddle and take off his gauntlet, and then with his more dexterous fingers, take the card and try not to crush it.
Likewise, Lena will reach out and gently take a card.
Okay.
Ophistiel goes to take one, but he kind of like hovers his hand around the deck for a minute, like he's trying to feel out a card, and he'll grab one that resonates.
Clem does the like point at me like a second time, like,
Yep.
like are you sure? Like kind of
Yep.
like a, and then they'll actually close their eyes and they'll just like reach out, and the first card they touch, they'll.
Sure. And you notice that at this point, the light of the flame turns more of a pale blue. And first and foremost, she turns to you, Lena. Roll me 2d8.
Oh boy. You got it. 7.
7. Give me just a moment. Okay. This card will answer your initial question. While it is plain to me that you may not know what you seek, I do, however, see that you have a goal. Is that correct?
Yes.
This card speaks to a goal. And I would like you to turn over your card.
Oh.
The card before you reads Dungeon. The picture inside shows of a physical dungeon, as if inside of a keep. You see stairways going up, and the light beaming through the stairway shows the shadows of a barred door. You see from a hole above chains, though empty, hang from it. This card speaks of an overgrown bastille, warped and mangled and lacking in steel. You shall find what you seek in a prison for the mind, as walls lined with knowledge and exits are difficult to find. Don't worry, I will have that copy pasted for you.
Thank you. She takes the time to study the card deeply as the words take root.
And I will for your information, I will post this at the end at the break, just to keep things flowing. All right. As you sit there and let it sink in, she then turns to you, Branson.
Mm-hmm.
Your mission is clear. You know it. So do I. Well, you are seeking direction, are you not?
Yes.
Please flip your card over. You see a card that reads Beast. And just like what you would expect, the center of the card, the art demonstrates a abomination of a creature looking somewhat rat-like and yet covered in spikes. Its face bearing multitude of fangs and with claws bony and abnormal. It seems to hold a weapon of sorts in one hand, as if ready to attack. And as you stare at this card, Rivka looks to you and says, "This card speaks of a man out of place. Time's hand stilled from death's embrace. You shall find whom you seek in a den of beasts, plotting demise with a silver-tongued speech."
He'll nod.
She lets it sit for a minute, waiting. And as you have nothing more to say, she then turns to Ephestial. To you as well, I would like you to roll me, this time, 4d10.
Okay. That's 26.
26. Just a second. All right, perfect. Please flip over your card. And as your card is flipped over, you see, weirdly enough, instead of a crown, there is a 7. And there seems to be some type of weird symbol in the other corner. The title reads The Charlatan. And the picture, much like what you would expect, is a man with a conniving smile, cloaked in almost showy theatrical clothing, with a mask just barely removed from his face. As you stare at the card, she then says, "This card speaks of one whose blood is tainted, regal and noble, with reputation already painted. The person with answers that you seek is not all that they seem, donning an eye of uncanny gleam."
Oh, he kind of tilts his head at that, but he's staring at this card, kind of lost in thought over her words.
And to your silence, she then turns to you, Razvan. "Please roll me 2d8.
A 3.
3. She then turns to you, and before she reveals the card or has you reveal it, she then says, "You said that you were looking for a muse.
Yes.
I hope that the inspiration or the person that you find, well, I hope it is worth it." And she gestures for you to flip your card over.
He's a little unnerved and rattled by that, but we'll flip the card over.
This item speaks, or this card speaks, of a lethal weapon. The dark moon, a sanctuary for the one that it threatens. You will find what you seek
like mists in the night, shrouded from view, yet hidden in plain sight.
Razban will nod before writing something down in his journal.
And then Clem.
Happy to be here.
Roll me 4d10.
$22.
Okay. There's a hesitation.
Like,
A pause. She studies you for a moment. Staring at you as if there's something about what she's studying you as if trying to figure out what exactly it is that is your purpose here. Why are you included in this reading, in this drawing that normally would not be for, I mean, she's never done a reading for you before. She's never had a reason to. And yet all of a sudden,
Clem kind of cocks
You-
her head to the side, almost bird-like.
this is interesting. You are seeking safety and sanctity in Cardicus.
Slowly nod the head.
And yet, you've been here the whole time. This card speaks of aid. Please flip it over. The card that you are revealed to has a 3 and that same sort of weird sigil in the corners. It is titled Healer. The picture depicts a woman cloaked in robes, standing over, assumedly a man laying on his back, clearly unwell. The candles fizzled out, their flames clearly snuffed. Her hand reaches over the head of the person laying still. This card speaks of one whom seeks to befriend.
what did I put here? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to read my own handwriting. Okay. An allegiance formed with a bitter end. The person you seek is one at the table amongst good-illed people, and one to become a new fable.
I look across the group. Kind of pause for a moment. Seems I made a wise choice.
I'm certain you've given us much to think about. We appreciate your wisdom and your guidance in this way.
Of course. And if I may help in other ways, there are, of course, other goods and services I may provide, or if you simply wish for additional clarity, you're always welcome to return.
And a dawning look of, we are so fucking stupid, will come on Branson's face and just ask this one thing, considering he knows there's some form of like magic at play here. He's just going to nudge Razvan. You wouldn't happen to have a pearl of how much?
What my friend is trying to say is we are missing some forms of ingredients for spells. But this is not a market, so I would not assume
My
so.
dear friend, what do you think is on my shelves?
I presume nothing.
Then a more careful eye the artist shall need.
In his defense, we
Razvan
forget
will-
every time.
It is almost as though a few weeks passed and I didn't forget.
Again, I said hit the look on his face is one of dumbassery because he only just remembered.
What is it that you are looking for?
A pearl. Our ability to identify certain magical effects and items would be easier to do if we had this particular ingredient.
As you are talking, Rivka practically glides, lifting almost regally, almost supernaturally out of her seat and begins to flitter almost over towards the bookshelves. And after a moment, lifts a singular pearl off out of what seems to be a small box that's been sitting there, looks to you and says,
Now, this is an honest and genuine question. How much can you afford?
Razvan will pull out his coin purse and reveal 100 gold.
she holds out her hand.
He will stack the gold in rows of 20 before handing them over.
You notice almost like a spectral force seems to pick it out of her hand and carry it to the desk. A drawer opens almost invisibly, and that stack is gently placed inside. The drawer closes, and you hear the click of a lock. All the while, she holds the singular pearl out to you.
Razvan will politely take the pearl.
It is yours.
I thank you. And thank you for reminding me, Branson.
No problem. Though now, a way to again, help with your studies and everything. I have a question, and it'll be slightly strange to ask, but I feel like you're one of the few people who would understand. Are you aware of
She
the
looks-
cult? Are you aware of the cult with no name?
Let me do a roll.
And he's just preemptively going to turn to Leah, and no, it's different from your church. It's a whole thing.
I am aware.
I smile. I just smile at Branson. That's all.
I am aware of those in cloaks blacker than night, with faces shrouded in the mist.
Well, in our travels, we came upon what seemed to be a ritual site of theirs that was used to taint the land outside of Melancholy. We were able to destroy it, all but one strange magical item. Lena says, to the best of their knowledge, it is some kind of conduit piece, but it generates a fairly evil presence. We were hoping to get it destroyed because, as far as we could tell, all it was good for was just draining life. But if this would be something you could either destroy or at least make for a better use, we'd be willing to give it to you.
I'm not one for certain types of magic. However, if there's some way to safely bring the item here, then I suppose I could give it a look over, although I cannot guarantee to you that I am able to do anything about it.
Alright, we can do that at a later date. You've already done much for us this day. Right
There's
now
no
it's...
trouble. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was only going to say that, yeah, well, it is safe for now. So...
Very well.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wish to discuss, be it about your reading or any services that I could provide?
Brenton, do we play our cards on the table, or do you still want to keep things close to the chest?
Have you ever met, I believe, a druid by the name of the Shallow Mim?
I am aware of the presence of one were-raven whose origins are not of Carticus.
Well, that's a lot to unpack. Well then, they told us to try to find people who know about feathers. Specifically, of the kinds of ravens, and he just points over at their raven.
Are you asking if he is a lycanthrope?
No, but we are having to look for people discreetly that we cannot speak of.
I cannot say that I know.
And that is fine. It's easy not... I would rather not loop more people into something that could be dangerous. You've already, again, been very kind to us.
Slow nod.
Then I think we have everything we need. He just looks around and then just nervously drinks from the tea.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, before we go, I have one request, madam.
Of course.
Your reading has brought up some thoughts. May I show you something and see if you could provide some more insight on it?
Of course.
He'll reach into his leathers and produce his pendant and hand it to her.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know if this is recognizable to you at all, but my companions seem to think it's expensive.
Certainly. And it certainly is. It is difficult to say the origins or its properties. It's clearly not magical, however. There is something about this amulet binding, bound, I can only assume to you, but to one other as well. There is the presence of a third. Not bound, per se, but there is the presence of a third. I think that third may be in relationship to your card.
I see.
I apologize for the vagueness, however, there's only so much that I can discern when I myself am not exactly am an enchanter. It is a bit out of my realm of expertise.
No apologies needed. Thank you.
Of course.
That helps more than you might know.
Eh, On that note, are you aware of the person known as Lychee Doldo?
The owner of the indoor outpost.
I believe so.
I'm aware of him, yes.
He seems to have a bit of an issue when it comes to certain vampiric entity. Would you know anything about that?
Dordo is a mysterious man. That is a man who walks with years and years of history. And I can only imagine that history bears fangs. Of the unpleasant kind.
I certainly seem to have gathered a similar conclusion, but they seem in distress about the situation. Considering they have been very kind, I'm trying to find a way to repay his kindness.
Give me just a second to look something up here real quick. Oh, that is not what I wanted. Okay. May I ask a question?
Of course.
In repaying him, are you seeking insight about the road ahead?
No, I simply mean to repay him for no other reason than to repay.
You notice at this point that Rivka actually stands up once more, walks over to the shelf, or one of the shelves, I should say, pulls out a bowl that is golden lined. You see she rifles about a little bit, then walks over to the table, sits down, and you see her, whatever is in her hand, she shakes it for a moment before throwing it into the bowl. And you see little sticks. They almost look like, like the sword toothpicks, but like wooden and jewel encrusted.
Sure.
She looks at them, and I would like you to roll me a d6.
D6.
And a d100.
2. Roll 69. 5. 25.
Fascinating.
The journey ahead of you, should you pursue it, reads of wheel. there is good fortune in the pursuing of this endeavor.
That is good to know. Do you have any potential leads we can follow in this endeavor?
I cannot say that much. Unfortunately, I am limited in my capabilities. However, I am certain there are others, either amongst you or within Skald, who might be able to offer you more direction. However, her eyes glance over. Are the cards still on the table, or have y'all pocketed them?
Oh, I didn't realize we were supposed to take them.
Yeah, Branson would have left it on the table, thinking that you're supposed to give it back.
Just
Clem's kind of playing with it a little bit, like, you know, doing the thing where they like put the finger in the middle of the card and is kind of spinning it.
Rivka looks to the beast card. I have a feeling the threads, lines of fate, if you want to call it that, are destined to intertwine and to tie themselves into braids. The path, though shrouded in mist, will at some point become clear. To that point, I have a feeling you will need these guides on your journey to point you in the right direction. Please take the cards. When they are no longer needed, they will return to me. They have every time.
Branson will just nod with his usual determination, take the card, and place it in a pocket inside his breastplate so it's safe.
I know not to question gifts from Rivka, so I slip it into one of my sleeves.
Rosvan will take the card, put it in his hat.
Ophestiel takes the card off of the table again and then puts it in one of his pouches.
Okay.
Lena probably hasn't stopped staring at it.
It is at this point, very curiously, that the raven actually takes flight for just a moment. And taking you by surprise, Ophestiel lands on your shoulder. It seems to look at you.
He looks up at it, like, oh, hello there. And he'll reach his hand out. Not touching, just kind of letting him feel.
You don't need to roll an animal handling check. The raven sort of presses its nose to the palm of your hand, so to speak. And Rivka looks over and says, oh, that's... My apologies, I've never seen him do that with a client before.
Oh, it's quite alright. I welcome the company.
In truth, he's... Oh, to call him a pet would be disrespectful. He one day appeared at my door and just kept staying here, kept returning. At one point I just made him a perch as he followed me inside. I couldn't explain it. He's completely wild. He did it of his own volition.
Well, there must be something around here that he likes enough to keep coming back for.
Well, I am a seer of many things, but that has always remained a mystery to me. Keeps pushing its beak into your palm.
Um,
Very gently. Not like urgently or anything, but just like very weirdly. And you would recognize this to be abnormal for Raven behavior.
Ophestial turns to Clem. Clem, I believe you can speak to animals. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, I speak with. And I would know the raven's name, correct?
Could you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
I would know the raven's name, correct?
Have you spoken to the Raven before?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. If I come here and just mess with the like plants and stuff.
Yeah. Then you would know that the Raven not only has a name, but as soon as I tell you what it is, I'm gonna need you to roll a history check.
You got it.
So
Yeah.
the Raven's name is
Oh my god. See, I told you I roll a
Ooh!
natural one first roll, and I was like, I'm telling you, but they're the 20s. They're coming.
the Raven has told you its name is Darren.
Like, yes, I've spoken with Darren many times.
You watch as like Rivka goes pale in the face. As on a 21 history check, you would actually know that the name of Rivka's disappeared husband is Darren Lair.
I kind of paused. Wait, I thought you named him after your late husband.
I didn't give the Raven a name.
Clem's just kind of
Oh.
take the cup and do the like sip meme, the like eyes just like It's nice
That's none of my
food.
business.
Mm-hmm.
Branson, meanwhile, over here. Okay, I think we all have a lot to unpack right now.
Well, I was just going to ask. He seems like he's trying to tell me something, but I can't communicate.
Darren, dear, what is it that you wish to know or wish to get across?
Are you using that ability right now?
Yep. I mean, I have it at will. I just permanently
I'm
talk to
asking very
animals. Yep.
specifically.
Yeah. No. I look at Darren. Is there something you wish to express?
I gotta think of a voice for him. Hold on. To the white-haired one. There is something familiar.
Oh, Festival, have you been here before?
No. Not to my knowledge.
Are you certain?
Well, I suppose I can't be 100% certain. There's a period in my life where my memory is very, hazy at best.
Darren says you seem familiar.
Oh? Is it perhaps someone who's like me?
I look at Darren. Are you sure this is the one?
Darren doesn't like really verbally reply, but presses the beak again into Festial's hand.
Seems rather certain, yes.
Hmm. Oh.
And then turns to you once again, Clem, and says, actually, you know what? We're gonna make this interesting before he says anything. Roll me a D100.
Yeet.
Clem.
Happily. Bah, 74.
Oh my God. Okay. I guess this is happening. Darren looks to you and says, well, can you do me a favor?
Happily, of course.
Can you tell my wife that I love her?
Oh,
I'm sorry. There's like a moment where they're like, oh yeah, and then they like, you all would watch as like the like attitude Clem has just kind of very, very quickly changes. Like that like kind of a little bit bombastic sort of outer uh kind of facade goes a little bit, and they reach up, and they kind of they almost like go to reach out towards the bird, and then they pull back, and they go not like grave, but very serious and somber for a moment. We would walk over towards Rivka, and I would reach out to take her hand.
She's gonna insight check you a little bit. Face is very pale. You're also welcome to insight her as well. Basically, she just wants to figure out what your intentions are, because you've been yapping with a bird. You've been yapping with a bird that you've just announced has the name of her missing husband.
Yeah, they approach with a very like sincere sort of
sure,
like a friend wanting to console another friend, that kind of vibe.
That is a 19 on an insight check of just trying to get the solid read of what is happening with you specifically.
Yeah, there's no like attempt for deception. If you'd like me to roll, I can roll a persuasion, because it is trying to get across how earnest this is.
Please roll persuasion.
13.
Okay. She lets you take her hand.
My dear, I wish to apologize, because in all my time I have been here and spoken with your dear companion, I have never truly thought about it more than a moment. And for that, I wish to apologize to do this in present company. But nonetheless, I will obey the wishes of your husband, who wishes to convey that he loves you very much, despite the way he currently looks.
A slow head turn as this woman looks from you to the raven, who's currently headbutting a Festial on the side of the head.
I am caught in the weirdest middle ground right now.
Yep.
Like, yep. I shouldn't be here. This is inappropriate.
Yeah, Branson's just like, for once I'm not the one who made the mood weird, but I still do not like it.
I beg my pardon. It appears, as your friend here has said, we all have some things to process. You are welcome to stay here as long as you would like, but if you will excuse me, I think I need to step away.
Would you like company, my dear?
No, She, like, pats the top of your hand. I need a moment alone, thank you.
I give a nod. Of course. I wanted to check. I will close up things here. I look over at Branson. Take that to the polished smithy. It's a blacksmith in town. And I gesture at the letter I handed you.
Yeah. We'll figure out what we're going to do. Let's just, we are leaving. Let's go.
I'll meet up with you there. I'll close up here. Don't worry. Take your time. And I will actually take a minute to, like, tidy up in here and put everything away and, like, put the tea away and that kind of stuff. And I'll give the party a moment.
Plenty of tea.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of tea.
We're drowning in tea.
I will give the party a moment, like, to process this without Clem. Because Clem is aware of, the social implications there. And as you guys are leaving, I'll meet up with you at the smithy. And just kind of nods.
Yeah. Branson totally just down that tea with zero, like, just head back empty. And now it's just, like, grabbing everyone who's at least put down their tea and it's just heading to the door.
Giving you, like, a little bit of, a shoe motion, like, go.
And with that I think is a great spot for us to take a break.
Ooh. Oh boy.
Great storytelling, Sarah's. I really, really love the stuff with the Lear Estate.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Like, I also love immediately so much energy of like, oh, this is the big time NPC we needed to meet. Oh, I love.
Also, I need you to know, Leah, you had to get a 70% or higher for him to ask that.
Hey, yo. High five.
Well done.
High five. That was not supposed to be dropped today.
My husband isekai'd into my familiar.
Ooh.
That was not supposed to be dropped today, but the dice said, hey, guess what? So I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna pause and refill my water and grab a snack.
Anyone who says Speech of Beasts invocation isn't worth it,
I've been using it.
Get on my level.
I've been using it in our Wild Beyond the Witchlight game. It's the only non homebrew invocation I'm used.
I love it. It's Speech of Beasts. It's just chef's kiss.
I also love that when I hit 6th level, I gained the ability to cast Speak with Plants like 3 times a day. And I immediately just talk the biggest treant in the Feywild to be like, hey, do you want to help us go run up on a hag? Okay.
Amazing. I will BRB. I'm going to go to the restroom while we're on break.
But hey, chat, enjoying the stream. A lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Like, I was prepared after that with how awkward things were got. Just be like, okay, we're going back to the inn, and we're just going to spend the rest of our day identifying all of the magic items I am holding on my person. Because we got a lot.
That would be pretty important to do, yeah.
We also don't know how many of them are cursed. I'm pretty sure at least one of them is, because it was one of the most evil things we could have found when we got here.
What? No.
It was like so evil, Branson has not taken it out of the little tiny pouch he's put it in since then, and that was like literally night 1. Darky over here making TCG jokes about our Taroka pulls.
I pogged so hard when I heard the deck was getting pulled out. I'm like, ooh!
Oh yeah, no, you gotta have it. But then also with me, I just love the one thing is that no, even the Taroka deck knows that Branson is doomed by the fucking narrative. It's like, no, you don't get to roll. You have this card. Though Branson much likes this this reading as opposed to the here's your fate mirror sequence. Trying to think of something here. But yeah, no. I am starting to love now that every game has a very widely different tone on my channel, and that's only one of them is by design. That said, if anyone's here wants to check out the exact opposite tone of this game, go check us out Friday for Outlaws Gambit.
What's the opposite tone mean?
The opposite tone means is that the only person in our group currently with a body count since we started is the librarian. Yeah, it's pretty slapstick. Not by design. We just every one of our decisions somehow digs us a deeper hole.
I see.
We also discovered that the average life expectancy of an artificer in the main town of artificers is not great. The oldest person there is a gnome. You want to know how old they are? 61.
I mean, the oldie times, that's not bad.
Gnomes live to be up to 500 years old. And this
is not bad. This is the gnome in captivity or domesticated.
The gnome is surprisingly like has all of their fingers still, despite us meeting them in an explosion. Which leads me to believe that that OSHA has not made it to the town where they literally built a boat so big they couldn't make it leave the dock, so they built around it. Ugh. But yeah, literally to pretty much sum up that game, our entire like first major quest that we have that's taking us through this town and like 2 others to get there and do it is the very righteous and very noble quest to go break some guy's kneecaps so he can't win a race. Yeah.
I'm helping.
I mean, I was nearly killed in our first, like, combat encounter, and then you just brought me back, so... I very much think that, like, gonna call her Lena, Ava's helping.
Surely everything's fine.
I mean, at least it's not on fire. And let me put this... Let me put it this way. No, yet is a very big possibility. What I was going to say is, if we can now go back to the tavern where we are staying, and a bar fight does not happen, I could say that we are actually doing okay. Because we are 2 for 3 in bars we've been in, and bar fights have initiated. Though luckily only one actually has a body count of corpses.
Damn, how's playing in Fantasy Boston feel?
Not great. There's far less ska than I hoped. And the only ska adjacent band is what started the second bar fight and got me glassed.
The dwarven metal band.
I've seen them.
Well, no, here's one of the things. On a random roll where it's just like, oh yeah, I probably had to brush up on the fact of music for very specific, like, reasons due to high elves. And I somehow became an expert in all forms of current, like, day music, and have now managed to find out the actual true reason of why does every dwarven band have a dedicated cowbell player? It's a whole thing about
Because
cultural significance.
you always need more cowbell.
No, that was the crux of the argument that eventually got me that knowledge. They always say you need more cowbell. But why do you need the cowbell? Why is it one person playing it? Why can't it just be the drummer?
The bones are their money. So are the worms.
Ugh. Though I am testing myself for at least naming that game, because I try to, like, pick if I'm either going to go with comedic joke names for a game, or if I'm going to do, like, just straight serious ones. For this game, I always do straight serious and try to be a little bit ominous for our, like, YouTube episode titles. But so far, like, not even wanting to do it, every episode now starts with, So you walk into a bar fight. Can't remember what the second one is. So you walk into another bar fight, and then so you discover self-determination, or the current naming scheme. So I'm just waiting to see what we discover next time, or walk into.
So you woke up after dying as a slime in a dungeon, and now all of the elves want to be your girl. New isekai.
You say that, but I'm such a shit. I probably would actually make that an episode title, but YouTube title restriction links. You can't do a light novel like
Yeah, the light novel titles, they're so wild.
Oh yeah, no, I love them. I heard that's not even like a trope of the genre, just because people saw it evolving and just kind of either wanted to set themselves like part of the market or just be funny. No, it's literally because of Japanese like marketing like laws. You have to put, if it's not like something that's backed by like say Shonen Jump or has like a stamp of approval from a publisher, you have to be very specific in what you are advertising on your book. So
Ye-
they just give the plot synopsis as the title.
Yeah, no, it's because they don't trust people to read blurbs on the back, so it has to be in the title. And that's why they're so insane, and it's so bizarre.
Uh,
Sarah, so I'll let you know one other wild thing about the card I drew. 3
Sure.
is my lucky number.
Amazing.
Like 3 is genuinely my lucky number. Like for a lot
Amazing.
of things, that 3 is like my favorite number. I know that's a very trained statement to say I have a favorite number, but 3 is
I
like
know,
far
but,
and away my
like-
favorite number.
That's awesome. I'm actually typing finishing
Serendipity.
putting the notes in notes and handout for y'all.
Heck
oh, thank
yeah.
you.
Perfect.
Oh, this is by far and away going to be the longest session, like, note synopsis that I've ever taken, far and away.
I am very excited to see the blacksmith's reaction to the letter you hand them.
Oh yeah, no. There's
I will post that after the session for everyone so you can see what I wrote.
and I'm also copying what you just put there, Saris, onto my ever-growing quotes I have to remember section of my character sheet. Again, that's something you can hang your hat on. I have, for the entirety of my D&D 5e career, never used this page, and when just if a friend printed out a physical like character sheet, I would just be like, I don't need this. You wasted ink on this. Now this has become like my third most important page.
Hee. I need you all to know that I was sitting on this for like a minute.
For notes and handouts, can we pin the
Sure.
the card readings? I think that would be just for easy reference back to.
Yeah, 1 second here. Where is pin? There it is. And give me 1 second here. I'm getting a text, so I gotta answer that real quick, but then I'm ready to go.
You're good. I'm still chewing. I hope you all are enjoying the session.
I'm having fun.
This was tea I did not expect to have today.
Oh my god.
But this is great. So much drama.
When I came up with that, I need you to know, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a little thing. I highly doubt the party's ever gonna find out about it, but like it'll be a fun little thing, like
Fun
to
Easter
just, like,
egg for you.
flesh out the character, flesh out the story of like this person's like, you know, like because every person has a story, right? So like, yeah, I'll just like, this will be the thing. I was expecting, like, if y'all did discover that it would be like down the road, right? Perhaps a repeat visit, you know?
Nah. Nah.
And like I said, I'm not fudging anything. No rigged behavior here. None of that. There was
yeah. Absolutely. That is, as a GM, like, you know all the things that your players can do, but you can't always think of everything. And so, like, you and I talked about me talking with animals, and it probably just was never like, oh yeah, Clem would have talked to, like, yeah, it never would have clicked. It makes sense.
Yep. No, I just didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, like, I mean, you could, but like, would you? Nah, we didn't talk about it. So I was like, yeah, no. And then you're like, yeah, I would have talked to the Raven. And I was like,
I love how you were so proud for us coming into this thing. It's like, no, I've thought of everything. I even have a D4 roll. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Shit.
And that's the beauty of D&D, right? You
Yep.
can prep for 1,020 ways for something to happen, and the players will, without fail, find the one thing you did not prepare for and go, hey! But I'm satisfied. I'm so, like, do not hear me upset, please. I am so satisfied because I thought that that was going to be one of those, like, campaign secrets that I just take to my grave. No.
I just also realized something. Branson could have possibly fixed that if he actually knew that he had 3rd level spells and not just has an instinct on it. Because I could just prepare Remove Curse. And at least try. But no.
Also, I have been sitting on something, by the way, that I'm waiting for you specifically, Vaughn, for it to click in your brain.
Oh no. You know how much I overthink it. I haven't figured it out yet. Oh, this is bad.
There's something specific about that encounter and this entire, like, beginning of the session that I'm sitting there like, I can't wait. And I'm doing this very deliberately because I've been smirking about this the whole time, thinking about it since I came up with this encounter, right? With this situation, right? I can't wait for the 3 a.m. text message when you go into my DMs going, damn it! I can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm just gonna put something in Branson. I'm just gonna not even say. I'm just gonna just. This is the one
I
thing
am
that
done eating, by the way, so I'm good.
This is the one thing that informed a lot of Branson's behavior during this. Well, also that and their demeanor. Your mic cut you off there. Oh.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I see. Yeah, I'm sure you'll eat well off of my reaction whenever I pick up on the deeper notes. But yeah, if we're all good, I can take us to the other screen.
Sounds good.
Okie dokie.
As long as we are all here, I'm doing a quick roll call. So, Leah, you here?
Aye.
Kaz, you here?
Hi.
Skelly here?
You.
Zan here.
Well, now I just look foolish.
Oh no. Zan down.
Zan down, Zan down.
Also, hey, Robot. Welcome. Yeah, you're probably going to really want to watch the VOD now, Elp Robot.
Hey, I'm back.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back.
Perfect timing. Shall we get rocking and rolling then? Alrighty. So here's my question. I understand what Clem is doing. What is the party doing?
I say probably once we get outside of the garden and a little ways away from the house, I think we're all just reeling. So that was a lot.
Yeah.
It certainly was something.
Question for Saris. Has Darren left my shoulder?
Oh yeah, he stayed in the house.
Okay. Well, that's certainly not what I expected today.
Right, well, we should still try and get on with our day, I suppose.
Well, Clem is going to meet us at the blacksmith, so we might as well just head over there.
Indeed. Do you mind leading the way, Branson?
I mean, I will try. I just know he said that it is in the upper part of Skald. I don't know where to go for that. And I don't think many people are going to give us directions given our... He just gestures at all of himself in this.
It dawns upon all of you that you will probably need some sort of guide.
Okay, just a sec. Branson's just going to take a note, like take a piece of paper from like just a random like pouch. Write down. We don't know where to go. Went back to the inn and just place it on like the bit of stone just outside of like the gate, and then just find a like bit of uneven brickwork or something that's just loose and just put it on top of it so that way it doesn't blow away.
Roll me a perception check.
Okie dokie. Do sheet.
If I may as well, Saris, I would like to assist the situation as Clem knows they cannot lead them, but as the party would head out towards the wrought iron gate, there would be a different raven perched on the gate.
Hey, Leah, get out of my head.
Hey!
Don't steal my bit. There is a different raven there.
Oh. Okay, that makes
It's
sense.
one that you recognize.
All right. Are you going to fly there and we have to watch you from the sky, or are you just going to point with your head?
I need to adjust my mic real quick.
This raven can actually just speak out loud.
I have to adjust my mic for a second. I gotta turn down the voice sensitivity.
Ah!
It caws at you. Or it makes like a raven sound. I don't know what ravens actually sound like. It's dawning on me that I don't actually know what a raven sounds like. So.
They do have a caw, but ravens actually just make a lot of noises that they've heard before, because they're really good mimic birds.
So actually, that would make sense that it would caw at you then. There's a legitimate reason for that. So yeah, it caws at you.
Ah!
Was that a yes or a no?
It starts taking flight.
All right, there's our answer then. Someone make sure I don't walk into like a light post or something. As Branson just following the flying bird.
And as you all head deeper into Skald, I'm going to adjust the music here for a minute.
Oh Lord, I just realized this is not going to do anything good for our rep in the city, because now the guy people think is a snake monster is just randomly walking around the city following a bird.
Wow.
Oh my god, Vaughn, it finally happened.
What?
We found you a hobby. You're a bird watcher.
You're officially a bird watcher.
Let me go back and see if I can find the fucking meme.
Oh boy.
I mean, hey, whatever works.
Now Branson found his groove.
Here it is. Branson as a bird watcher.
Okay.
Where's the bird? I don't see it. Throws axe right there.
Yeah?
All right. You start walking your way. This raven now taking you towards the inner sort of midsection of Skald, and you actually come across a central road in which there's a bit of like what you see almost like a creek. You have to walk over it, over a bridge to get there. And as you approach this more eastern side of the city, you immediately are faced with these stone walls that largely, I mean, they're very, very ornate. They're very decorative. It's almost more so, yeah, like, yes, clearly walls are meant to keep people out, but this is also clearly not only a show of wealth, but also a show of what is kept inside. As you approach a set of iron gates and a pair of guards who acknowledge you, kind of tilting a head to the side, but they don't say anything as they open up the iron gates for you to pass through. The streets in this section of town are all cobblestone affairs. Many of the buildings are far larger and more artistic than those in the other areas of town, and clearly, this is a place for the well-to-do. Here and there, you notice landscaping, lawns, and even gardens, accenting full-blown neighborhoods of stone and marble, of very ornate and elaborate architecture. You smell the scent of flowers wafting as if dancing through the air. As you continue to wander following the crow, however, there is one more thing that you notice. All of you, even with a passive perception. And that is the marching, the sounds of rhythmic footsteps, and the clanking of metallic armor. As your eyes then move from the sounds of song to the sound of metal, your eyes noticing pairs of guards walking on patrol. A sight that you did not see a lot of in other regions. Although there seems to be no outward sign of suspicion in their eyes, they do seem to look at you a few seconds longer than anybody else walking the streets. And of course, those who notice your presence step away or apart, staring and whispering, but many of them are caught up in conversation as you hear various different themes crossing your ears. Anything beyond that would require a perception check.
Just because, again, he stated that until he hears at least a certain level of distress, he's going to keep his hood down, but he's going to listen for that note of distress. So, there's a 14.
I mean, you do hear people whispering about you. They don't recognize you. That one with the hood up is very tall, very suspicious.
Oh,
Never seen garb like that before. Who are they? What are they about? They're clearly not commoners. At least they're not scoundrels, right? They must be somebody important. Otherwise, they wouldn't be walking around with such confidence. Although, I wonder if they're being followed by a beggar? Are they aware that there's a poor man, very dirty, seems to be following them about? It's very odd. They better keep their eyes about them if they and about their pockets if they don't want to be pickpocketed.
Well, then Brance will just say, apparently there's pickpockets, so keep an eye on your coin purse.
Roll me an insight check.
19.
They're talking about a festival.
Oh, I knew! Branson could pick up on that! Branson knew and purposely did not say anything because he did not want to offend his friend.
Good choice, good choice.
He's just blissfully ignorant.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, like, the city is full of song. People are singing everywhere. There are different tunes and melodies coming from all different directions, and as you change the different parts of the town that you're walking in, so does the song that you're hearing. So, like, naturally, a Festial would be distracted by the many sights and sounds of the city.
Yeah, he's just vibing.
Like, at most, if I was playing a character that could have prestidigitation, Branson was a much more tactful person. He might have just thrown a prestidigitation to, like, blow some dirt off of them to try to be nice. But no, he's basically just going to be like, there's nothing I can do here. These people are going to be assholes. I just am not going to tell my friend people said something mean about them.
Rapid nods.
Mm-hmm.
You eventually come across a building. This one is still very high-end, very ornate, but looks more like a shop front rather than a residential building. And you see a pillar of smoke rising from the back rear exterior of this building, and your eyes follow it down towards a brick chimney, but not, of course, that residential shape. And for those of you who would be familiar, and I would allow this to be a choice based on your own discretion of your character, clearly the signs of a forge on the back end of this on this building. And you see the sign, metallic and engraved on the front above the door, that does in fact read, and I literally gotta go to my notes because I'm on the wrong page. I'm so sorry. The Polished Smithy. Yes.
Ah. Alright, then Brance will be like, you are all free to come in with me or linger for Clem. It may take a while, I'm not sure, so just... He shrugs and he just kind of heads towards where, like, the entrance.
Sure. The other three of you, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
And you.
That is a 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure is.
It sure is. Yeah.
I have to ask, Razvan, what do you do to perform?
Perform?
Yeah, you rolled a 9 performance.
Oh my goodness! You know what? No. Ephestio and Roswell are gonna play patty cake. There, take that.
Okay,
All right, let's go.
incredible. And what a
And we're really bad at it.
yeah, I was gonna say, what a sad display. You see a couple of, like, again, the well-to-do of society, a woman with like a full-length gown, like purple gown, holding a parasol above her head with gloved hands, and this gentleman walking alongside her with, like, a hand at the small of her back. They both pause and they stop and they look at the two of you, and they kind of exchange a look before scurrying off.
With Ephestial playing patty cake, he's going to jokingly, like, mimic their behavior but over exaggerate it to Ephestial, be like, oh! And like clutch his pearls kind of motion. But that's what we're doing.
Yeah, no, perfect.
All right.
And hey, give yourself a die of inspiration for rolling with that. That was great. Lena.
Yes.
Vern perches on a specific piece of wood that has been, I guess the best word would be nailed to the side of the building. It sticks out just enough for him to perch, but it's not, like, super protruding. And it seems to almost blend in with the house. You almost didn't notice it at first. But he perches on it and he pecks it twice, as if to draw your attention.
She would wander over that way to find out more about it.
He's pointing to an engraving in the wood. It is a crescent moon with its points focused upward towards the sky, and an etching of what appears to be liquid dripping down the center.
She would turn around like slowly, and feeling a little bad interrupting the patty cake game, try to get Razvan's attention.
Yes, what is it, Lane?
She wouldn't say anything aloud, but she would step aside slightly, and kind of like gesture her head nodding in the direction toward the piece of wood.
Rasvan will look at the piece of wood.
Yeah, it's got an engraving on it.
Yep, that's wood. Look at the engraving.
Again, it's a crescent moon with its points up towards the sky, and from the bottom in the center, it appears that there are 3 drips of what looks like a liquid, and that has been engraved, like engraved, carved into the wood.
Razvan, does the image seem to strike any sort of familiarity to Razvan, or is it...
Yeah, absolutely, it should, but go ahead and roll me a history check.
I am above game. Blinking. 22.
So you would recognize this insignia. You saw it a couple times while you were in Melancholy. You also saw this insignia on the letter of the bounty on your head.
Oh, you're so right. Okay, yeah. I'll kind of look at the piece of wood and the insignia. I suppose that makes sense for them to be here, but I believe that this symbol is the one of those who are tracking us, or attempting to track us.
I believe so, yes.
Above game,
It's certainly... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just above game, real quick. This insignia on the door to the smith I just walked into.
It's not on the door of the smith that you just walked into, but it sure is on the side of the building that you just walked into.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Smiles.
Grins.
Saris, out of curiosity,
Mhm.
is there a lot of people around us right now?
I mean, it's midday, but I wouldn't necessarily... Certainly not nearly as many as, like, the other area of Skald that you were in. Think of it like... If you've ever... Have you ever walked around, like, a rich white suburb? And, like, you'll see occasional people in, like, doing their business, but it's far less than, like... Oh, I don't know, a buzzing city.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got that energy.
Okay. Is there anywhere immediately nearby that you would probably consider a little out of sight?
There are some gardens, debatable of whether or not they are owned by anybody. There are a couple of back roads and alleyways, though very few in comparison to Lower Skald. Anything beyond that, though, if you're looking for something specific, would require an investigation or a perception check.
Okay, it would just be someone that I would probably be able to duck out of sight for just a couple seconds kind of deal.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Okay.
Um, You're having a bit of trouble. And I think part of that is because Vern is currently sitting on the sign.
All right. She would turn to Razvan and say, it might be a good idea if we try to not look our part when we're in here. I'm sure whatever Clem handed to Branson might help, but we might need to try and change our looks a little bit. And she says, "I know."
Oh, so sorry. I forgot I was muted. I was moving. Just
Oh, not a problem.
Rosvan will kind of look towards Lena. Whatever do you mean?
Well, if this is the same marking as the one on you know what, then I'm sure they have eyes and ears on people coming in and out of these places.
I suppose I can see your want for caution, but honestly, if someone's going to be looking for us, I'd rather them find us here than out in the middle of nowhere.
That's a fair
I've-
assessment.
I have spent my entire life running, trying to hide myself away from the eyes of those that would judge me for being simply who I am. As I have not committed any form of, I suppose, traditional offense, at least not one I would notice as. I will not hide, but I will not hold you to the same standard of which I hold myself.
Not a problem. It was just a particular idea. I know extremely little magic, but I've learned a trick or two that can help me in certain situations like this. I suppose right now it's kind of pointless since, well, I kind of walked up to the front door looking as I do, so. I suppose we might as well join Branson inside, but she like nods toward the symbol again. It's like, we may want to try and keep our eyes out on more places like this when we go around town.
Go ahead and go inside to keep track of our more industrious, I suppose, companion. Ophestiel, when you pat it, do you then roll it and then go back to playing?
Oh my god. Amazing.
She would quickly say, I toward you, Rosvan, and also you, Ophestiel, as well now. Rosvan, I know you spent a good amount of money for, well, you know. Is there anything you're possibly looking for from the blacksmith I could cover for you?
Oh, that is very kind of you, but no, I believe I have everything I need.
Okay. How about you, Ophestiel?
Oh, no, there's nothing in there I could make use of.
Okay. She'd give both of you a little nod, and she says, "Good luck with what I assume is some sort of strange tradition that you know of. Bye now."
So, Rosvan, are you familiar with Down on the Banks?
Got it right there.
The hanky panky?
Part of me just what after like that as Rise Lena was going to enter, I like Branson gets a John Wick style throne through the front window, lands next to the sign, then realizes, oh, that explains it. But no, let's see what really happens.
Clem shows up. Y'all playing Miss Mary Mac?
We're gonna smash cut over to inside of the establishment. Lena and Branson, you both walk into. It is very much like half, like the half that you see on the inside, right, is very like very shop. There are specifically what you see, like swords, you see axes, both hand and battle. You see an arrangement on a shelf of like it's almost like the top of the shelf has like holes drilled into it that allow pockets of arrows, and you see that there are different types of arrows that are all bundled together. You see some examples of like some helms and some pauldrons and some breastplate. You even see like a chainmail shirt, right? And because I feel like this would be interesting, not that this is necessarily your expertise, Branson, go ahead and roll. I'm gonna go ahead and call this an athletics check. And I promise it'll make sense in a minute.
That's a double nat 20. 26.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call this an appraisal rather than it being like you physically doing something. So you're looking at the weaponry and the armor that's in here, and it's not bad at all. Like, it's definitely like it is artisan work. It is not like the toppest of tier work. It's not like mastercraft level work, but it is solid work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you notice, sorry?
I was just gonna say, like, it makes sense. Like, Branson's caravan didn't like forge weapons, but for like the sake of it moving a lot of cargo, they would pick up weapons like at cost and then sell them other places. So it makes sense that he could just eye these.
Yep. And so you notice that like the work here is good work. It's quality work. It's probably, your guess is this is probably going to be the best work that you find here in Skald, if you don't find anything even better. But what you see on the other side where the forge is, and you can hear the clanging of metal, is you see a middle-aged human man with dark hair, mutton chops, full beard. He's got like a bandana around his hair. His clothes are, as you can probably imagine, work clothes, and they look pretty gross. But like, he's literally in the middle of hammering some type of metal, and upon a better look, you both recognize it is a sword on an anvil. And it appears he did not notice you come in as he continues to hammer this sword.
Branson will just cheekily, he'll put his finger behind his back, snap his fingers, and there will be the unmistakable sound of like a bell dinging with thaumaturgy.
Beautiful. And when you do that, he like raises the hammer to do another pound, but he stops and he looks up at the two of you. Go ahead and roll me an insight check, and also the two of you roll me a general charisma check.
Oh boy.
Both insight and charisma?
Yep.
14 and okay, 16 surprisingly.
Okay.
Nah. Charisma.
Hey, Skelly, how would you like to interpret this 9?
Okay, hang on. Let me think. I like to think that she straightened her hair and everything nice. And as soon as a blacksmith comes in, Vern just has like a really rough landing on top of her head. It just dishevels her hair.
Perfect. Branson, you notice on that insight check, he doesn't recognize you, and he's surprised by your presence.
Unsurprising, we are strangers. Should I interpret the charisma?
Sure, go for it!
I would say that the one thing that's probably going for him is that Branson has a look that most people in very specific industries would like to see, is that there's a person who comes in, they have a look of, I know exactly what I want, I'm not going to waste your time, but we don't have a rapport yet.
Whoa. And he sets the hammer down. What can I do for a pair of burly bunch as you?
Yes, I have a very special order, but I was told to bring this as a way of letter of introductions. He just reaches in, pulls the letter out from the inside his breastplate, and hands it to him.
And unless you have any objections, for the sake of the audience, I'm going to read this out loud.
Smiles.
Oh no.
Would you like me to attempt to give my best Clem impression?
I'm happy to read it out loud if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't you read it out?
All right. Greetings, Master Ode Lem. I do not believe we have been formally introduced. However, I am intimately aware of your business. I am impressed with your metalwork, specifically in regards to your ability to apply precious metals to practical items. I am thankful to be aware of the full extent of your operations here in Skald, as it means we can do business together without fear of any deals going awry. The travelers who pass through this town are in need of your service, and it would be a great kindness to us to aid them in their needs, and in return, I can assure you that any rumors would be kept between such firm business partners. Sincerely, the Church Without a Name.
He takes a good, long, hard look at that letter. Looks up at you, Branson. Looks over at you, Lena. Looks back to the note. Well, I suppose. Well, without further ado, appreciate you coming to the polished smithy. What can I make or polish for you?
Okay. So Branson will first take out his main axe, set that down. I need the edge and point silvered. He's going to pull all 4 of his actual weighted throwing axes off. I would need their edges silvered as well. And I have over 100 gold to pay for all of that, as well as much that could be bartered to be used either in your trade, or that could be traded for gold to someone much more ado.
He's gonna take a long pause. I take it this Church Without a Name informed you that in rare circumstances, certain services, we'll call it, are done under the table.
Branson's just gonna stop, look around, scent the air, detect magic, see is there any magic in here that's watching people.
Aside from what is on your person and Lena's person, you do not detect any signs of magic within this room.
There's no one else here and no one is magically watching us. This is pretty much as under the table as it'll be, because after this, I won't even have reason to speak about it, and you'll be a richer man.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. I'll take that 16, but wish I had that nat 20.
I need you to understand there are 2 other things that I personally am going to need. If by some chance you want these weapons, and he counts over all of them, silvered.
Mm-hmm.
For starters, are you asking me to acquire the silver, or is that something you are going to, shall we say, provide yourself?
I have some limited silver, at least enough that should cover the needs of my main axe. And possibly if you're willing to lose out on something that could be sold to, honestly, someone who is going to spend way too much money on the mirror, then some more. As he'll just start pulling out what silver he has on him, which is his 25 silver pieces, which again is probably only enough that if you smelted it down, could just edge his main axe. And then he will also pull out the silvered ornate mirror that he got from the dead Meistersinger's house.
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. Nat 20.
There is a flicker of recognition in that about looking at that mirror, but he says nothing. Well, that will certainly cover... I mean, I will have to purify this, but that will certainly cover 2 of your axes. The rest you will have to provide for. Once you are able to provide that silver, I can do the rest of them for you. However, there's one other piece to this, and that is I don't just do silvering for money. If I'm going to silver these weapons, you have to do something for me. And one part of that is you have to make sure that when you walk out of this room, that there is not a single soul that can tie that blade, pointing to your axe, to my shop. That is action number 1. But action number 2 is you have to go do an errand for me.
Alright, I can easily do most errands.
He kind of smirks at that. You say that. However, it appears something of mine was stolen. And I would like you, in exchange for my goods and services, in addition to keeping my name clear, and the provided silver, and the monetary payment for my goods and services, I want you to go find what I've lost.
Alright. What is it?
Now, this may seem really silly, so you'll have to forgive me for it. But there is a trinket that I used to, well, I own, it is mine, but I used to have. And call me superstitious, but I think that that trinket is magical.
Okay.
It looks like... You can see how he's, like, mulling over, like, his words. He seems to be not exactly the most, shall we say, artistic or wordy in that sense. You see, I had, at one point, a whetstone that I swear, anytime that I put a blade against it, that blade would never go dull. One night, while I was out, when I was home in my own bed, someone broke into my forge and stole my whetstone. I've never seen another whetstone like it, and I want it back.
That should be pretty easy to do. It'll take me a day to fully procure the means, but if you can also give me any further details, which I will ask for, this should be very easy to expedite. Now,
First and foremost, I don't think this person has left Skald, or at least not the borders of Skald.
alright, that's already something that I needed.
Second, it's gotta be someone who is capable of sneaking in and out undetected.
Alright.
Because when I walked in here, there was nothing out of place except my whetstone. And that whetstone... And he points to, like, a shelf, and you can clearly see, like, there is, like, an area that is covered in, like, dust around it. But then there's, like, a perfectly, like oval-shaped mark where something used to sit constantly, and it's just empty.
Alright. And since you don't seem to have an idea of who this could be, I guess you do not have any competitors or enemies or people who might have coveted it should they have known of it?
I mean, there's another smithy in Skald, but I don't necessarily know if that person is shall we say, a risk.
We could start with, is there anyone else that knows of that whetstone?
Again, there's another blacksmith in town. I have some colleagues in the guild that I am associated with who are aware of it. And perhaps, though I'm not sure how, a number of potential clients.
Hmm. I'm trying to think. If you don't mind, may I take a peek around the area where it was stolen from? I have ways of seeing things that typically other people can't, so I might be able to at least find a possible trail, even faint as it might be.
By all means.
Yep, and he'll walk through, and he probably hasn't taken... He probably kept, like, Detect Magic up just because, like, once he heard that he's looking for a magic item, he wouldn't have dropped concentration, so... He's just going to walk into Smith and see if there's any residual signs of magic that would have helped the thief get in, get out without alerting him.
It's really, really smart. Let me double check my notes here on something. You do see... Double checking. Yeah. You do see signs of like very residual, but signs of conjuration.
Well, that already explains it. No one actually broke in to take it. They used magic to whisk it out of the store without even waking you. That at least tells us that at least they are a person of high standing.
Well, and if not a person of high standing, there are very few people that can actually use magic, let alone people who believe in it.
True. Now my question is there anyone, say, amongst that group of people in your guild that might have knowledge of it, that would eliminate?
Well, that's complicated, unfortunately. Because the people that I know of, that I'm in association with, that I have worked with, none of them were magic users. But that doesn't necessarily mean, unfortunately, that they wouldn't have told other people.
Oh yes, no, it's true. I was going to ask if any of them do. Again, I have not seen what other smiths can do, but I can tell that you are easily someone who would tailor to expensive clients. Is there anyone who would tailor to anyone expensive enough that people might think they would have magic?
He kind of shrugs at that. It's hard to say because it's hard to tell if it would be someone of a higher class standing. I have had customers come in here who have not necessarily been the most rich.
I mean, that is fair, but every so often you get commissioned for special work.
I would like to also draw your attention as you're talking. You notice something behind him in your detect magic.
Mm-hmm.
And that is on the shelf, the shelving unit, and on the floor, as if like a footprint trail. You see necrotic. Presence of necrotic.
Well, they seem to be well versed in magic. They have another bit of a trail here, but it also eliminates certain other kinds of magic, so that'll at least help me a bit. That said, as I said, my abilities to track magic are limited, and they usually require me to know what limits I will need at dawn, so I cannot start till tomorrow, aside from possibly just eliminating this other singular smith. At which point I'll just go down there and check and make sure that I can't even smell the stone.
I mean, that works for me.
Alright then. For now, let's say, how much would it be to silver this, which I will then personally wrap so no one knows it came out of the store before we leave? And how long would it take with the silver provided here now?
With the silver provided here now, give me about 2 days work, because first and foremost, I'm going to need to purify all that silver. In terms of cost, because you've provided silver, he points to your big axe. That is going to be 75 gold pieces.
Alright, 1 second. He will, with practice depth, pull out stacks of 10, like, very quickly, too. Like, he's one of those people, like, you see him at cons, they've handled money so much to get people quickly moving for high traffic areas.
Yep.
Pulls it out, sets it down, stack of 10, stack of 10, stack of 10, and then a stack of 5. There's the money up front. I assume the purifying the silver is going to be what takes one of the days.
Correct.
Then I will take my axe with me, unsilvered, come back tomorrow with it wrapped in disguise so that way it can't be linked back to you. And then tomorrow, while I'm searching for your item, you can silver it. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair.
Alright.
Same with that small one, because you provided enough silver for me to do one of your small ones too, and that one's going to be 50 gold pieces.
Alright, for now I can't afford to have that one silvered, and again, time will be a thing. There is a possibility with the magic that I've seen involved that I will need my axe, so that is why I am trying to stagger our workload.
Well, then what I will need, just to make sure that we're on the same page, is I will need you to sign, and he pulls out of one of his shelves a giant stack of like folder binder of papers sort of deal, like a book. Flips it open, tears out a document that seems to already be written, and he puts it in front of you. It is a contract. I need you to sign this as a form of agreement and as a form of promising that failure to comply with my terms is going to result in me not fulfilling my end of the bargain, as that is a null and void contract, and it also guarantees that I will provide my services in a timely manner based on our agreed terms.
Alright, that's fine, but since I am also signing a contract, I want to specify I am a man with no surname, so I will give the name of the group I travel with, so that way you will easily be able to find me should services not be rendered.
That is perfectly fine with me. Just understand that by putting a group name, that means that your entire group is liable.
Alright, so I'll just put my only name. I don't need to get people involved with too much of my business. You are a fair man. At which point, he'll just pull out his enchanted pin, I guess, since he doesn't actually... Actually, no, he has a pin. We've established this. So he just pulls out his pin, signs Branson, very block, like... It's almost Times New Roman script, like he was taught how to write, and just puts it there. I will see you again tomorrow. And he leaves all of the silver there as basically a show of good faith for the smelting process. Takes his axes, resheaths them. Alright, if I find out anything before the end of the day, I will try to make my way back and alert you, but this will take it at least the time it would take to silver my blade.
And considering that you are trying to find resources for the rest of your blades, it sounds like a deal to me.
Have a fine day.
You as well. I did want to clarify, did you grab the other pen or did you just do your normal quill?
Again, he would have used his normal quill. I forgot that I was already writing notes and stuff beforehand. And I was just like, wait a second, I don't have does Branson have anything to write with? But then I was like, he's got that quill, but yeah, no, he just wrote with a normal pen, so yeah, he's heading out.
Perfect. Okay. Lena, did you want to do anything before you also left? Because he's currently looking at you.
She would have been like looking around to see if there was any like what kind of like pre-made equipment do they have here out of
Like I
curiosity?
mentioned, he's got swords, he's got axes, he's got a couple of spear-like weapons, some arrows, chainmail, plate armor, scale mail.
Yes, she would actually like look over at the axes. Do they have like throwing axes by chance?
Yeah, he sure does.
Let me double check. How much are they? They are 5 gold pieces each. She will actually like pick up 2 off of
Okay.
the like whatever shelf or rung they might be and bring them over and say, always could use a couple extra. They don't need to be done what he's getting done. I just need a couple light axes for woodwork.
Fair enough.
I would also say right
Said
before
she-
Branson... Oh, 1 second, just because I realized something we forgot to ask that would make us look very stupid. Before Branson walks out, he'll just go, what is the name of that other blacksmith, by the way?
The weapon shop.
Gotcha.
And she would fork over 10 gold for two hand axes.
Sure thing.
Thank you so much for your time. She will graciously say, as she follows Branson out pretty quickly.
Safe
right.
travels, and remember, you weren't here.
Sir, who could remember the name of a shop where I don't even know the name of the proprietor?
He sort of gives you a wink, and then the door shuts behind you.
A Razvan. So is it like clap, pat, clap, or muted Zan, by the way.
I do not know. That's why I'm trying to learn from Vestiel here.
Well,
No,
I'm trying to
no,
learn from you
clap,
because
and then you clap my hand, and then you clap the other hand. But then there's 3 of
Okay,
us, so
I'm gonna
now
sit
we
across
do.
from Razvan,
So
and we're
right-
going to do it, and you can instruct us step by step. All right?
Branson, I'm concerned. Is this some sort of magic ritual from where y'all are from?
I'm just gonna say Branson sees all of this happening, and call text is what his face looks like. For those listening, he's Excalibur facing. Clem,
Yes.
it
Oh,
seems
they kind of like stand up. Pardon.
it seems that to accommodate the good sir of this establishment, we have to find a stolen object. I have at least one place to start. It is called the weapon shop. Do you know of it?
Well, I have good news and bad news on that.
Start with bad.
Well, the proprietor is missing, I believe.
Ah, well. Take me to the shop now. This is just going to lead to one thing after another. I will explain as we go.
I would be happy to, but yes, the proprietor, Gillian Fern. She was a weapons blacksmith. She operated near the one of the markets in the lower district, out town specifically. So she would be located, if I recall, outside of the city walls proper. She was mostly into simple work, but she would make weapons and such, hence the name of the shop. I want to say around 4 months now she's been gone, perhaps a little bit longer. She was the first of the series of people to go missing, actually. Most recently being Mary Kirschfield.
Now just Excalibur facing even harder. Just like, This is my life. This is my life. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go and investigate 2 missing persons and a stolen magical object. Let's get going. It's going to be a long day.
After you, Master Branson.
No, after you, I have no idea where I'm going.
Oh, I recall. I apologize. And I will lead the way.
I am hating how much Branson's becoming the defaulto dad in this group of no. We're doing this. You need the help here. Just.
And at this point, Omen actually perches onto your shoulder, Clem.
I would reach down, grab some birdseed, hold it up while I await a report.
I have some information regarding last night's escapades.
Yes, the individuals who were seen leaving the tavern.
Yes. They were headed towards the upper toll bridge, or at least in that general direction, until they split off. One went towards the keep, the actual Meistersinger keep. The other one headed towards the middle of the city, entered a residential home bearing the crest of an upside-down crescent before turning off all the lights and shutting the blinds.
I relay this information to the group.
And why are we caring about these individuals that were being tracked by you?
It seems that they were in fact tracking you, which is the reason why I followed them. They were at the inn last night and seemed to take particular interest in, well, the current company.
So they don't do open bounties, do they?
It's complicated. Bounties like that are in the city proper are rarely posted public.
And above game, I just have one quick question. Would the way that Clem lead us past the mark on the wall that would have told Branson a whole lot more walking into that situation?
Remind me what your passive perception is?
I believe a 16 or a 14. Let me check.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
Brent's gonna see that, Excalibur face even harder, smack himself in the head, and be like, Clem?
Yes.
The next time you send me into a business protected by the Blood Moon Guild, tell me beforehand.
That makes sense.
Yes! Considering what we're talking about now, it makes a lot of sense!
No, I can see that. Yes. No, I will make a note of that for the future.
Like,
But
if,
I
in my
did not
head.
really think.
I won't believe that, like, if you were part of the full party for a long time, he would be Homer Simpson choking you right now.
What manifested in the back of my head was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway,
All right, let's get this investigation started. I know it's going to be a big headache, and I want to remove that headache with alcohol. So let's get going. Let's go.
Okay.
For my sake, you are heading over to the
Weapon shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna take them to the out towns weapon shop.
I'm not gonna go super longer
Okay.
because I can see what time it is, but there is one more thing before we just jump cut
Oh,
there,
gotcha.
because as you reach the city walls, you stand before 2 guards, and I do have to ask Clem, which entrance from the south are you taking them to? The one on to the east or the one to the west?
Which is the one? All right, A, which is closer to the weapon shop, and B, which is closer to Dargoct.
They both lead directly into Dargoct, and Dargocht leads directly to Outtown. So it's not a matter of which is closer, it's a matter of would you like to beeline from the east in Upper Skald? Or would you like to take the long scenic route and go out of Lower Skald?
I will actually take the long scenic route and go through Lower Skald. A, because I know Upper Skald can be finicky, and these people don't. They've already drawn enough attention. They don't need to go to Upper Skald right now. And B,
Oh, you just
I
left
would.
Upper Skald.
Oh, I mean, yes, yeah. I mean, but they don't need to spend
Okay.
more time through Upper
Okay.
Skald.
Okay.
But I would also use this as an opportunity of like familiarizing them with the town, you know, like it's
Sure.
kind of like the walking tour, like here's where you would find this, and here if you need some clothing repairs, there's the seamstress there,
And here's the Temple of the Old Song, and here's the sawmill, and yes,
Yep.
understood. So, you reach...
Those are the docks, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, the wharfs, yeah. Which, by the way, if you are passing by the wharfs, taking the scenic route, those footsteps you saw last night are still there.
They would say, and those are the wharves. We'll get back to that. Keep walking, but you might notice up to the character, Clem kind of stare at some footprints for a bit.
Are those footprints significant?
Perhaps. Let's see.
I would go, since Clem is pointing them out, I will just reiterate the information from last session, which is that the footprints seem to have been growing slight mold and fungus literally in the shape of a footprint, and it trails on the wharves and then off the wharves. Which, for clarification, are the decks, which when you guys, I assume, inevitably go there proper, I will properly describe.
Yeah, I look at Lena and say, possible, likely, but not the current objective.
Fair. It looks like stuff Ophestiel's looking into, so we'll have some insight later, but right now, one task at a time.
I nod my head.
Mm-hmm.
Lena will stop to stare at them for a couple seconds longer, but then we'll continue with the party.
As you approach the eastern part of Lower Skald, towards the center, you reach the tall bastion gates leading out to the city, and you see two cards standing there, and one goes, "Oh, there!"
Hello, greetings and salutations. Good morrow to you, good sir. We will simply be exiting the town proper, doing some business in the lower out towns, and returning later this evening.
You plan to return inside?
Yes, our place of residence is within the walls.
Okay. Entry at this time and exitry at this time is currently 10 copper pieces.
At which point just looks at the group, does the math in his head, hands the man, let's see here, it would be, I want to say 6 silver?
Mm-hmm.
And then just like...
How about a gold and for entrance and exit for the day?
Deal.
That's also good because I forgot to take the silver off my sheet because I just gave it to, the blacksmith.
I was gonna say.
I will hand them a gold.
All right, and he takes and pockets the gold. All right, open her up, and you hear the sound of the whirring, the chains tugging, as the gate rises into the I'm blanking on the word, portcullis, upward, and they step out of your way. And as you leave Skald proper and start walking into the old keep, that is where we are going to pause and end tonight's session.
Whew.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Not what I thought we'd be doing, but hey, I've watched enough Burn Notice this week. I'm down for this kind of like adventure.
Oh, Burn Notice.
Oh,
Would it just be called Vern Notice instead?
Amazing.
but yeah, no. I also have Darky and like in chat being like, "Good thing you just signed that contract without reading it or thinking about it." I'm like, listen, my guy's only got +1 int here. I'm trying.
I mean, Clem and Branson have the same int.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just depends on how you apply it. +1 int, pretty good.
I mean, again, he's a
10 is
specialist.
average, so you're above average.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will likely up that again at some point, though. I have plans for a feat.
Yeah, like, unfortunately, with how my stats came out, which were actually very, very generous, but it's also been like, you don't get a feat until level 12. That means you survived in the Domains of Dread for level 12. Let's not get our hopes up here, kid. But I do know some of us need to start heading out, so, one of the people who needs to get out early, start going around the horn while I find someone for us to raid.
Nose goes.
Those.
Goes.
I like
Skeleton
embracing.
has-
All right. Sorry, I'm distracted. Hi, I'm Catastrophe Cos. You can find me on the internet, mostly on Instagram and Blue Sky. I'm probably going to be taking a little bit of a social media break, but I'm deep in the throes of my competition build, so you can watch. I do have stuff highlighted if you ever were curious about everything that I've done. But yeah, that's been my life here, and that's about it. So check back later for more progress. I've been beating all session, and it looks real damn cute. So there we go. Let's hear from Zan.
Yes, I'm Kaz's favorite. It's me, Zan, or Xanilus Grim. You can catch me over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Xanilus Grim. 7 p.m. PSTs on most Mondays, not this Monday, but next Monday, for some Stalwart Souls. Then Tuesday, twitch.tv/Distortion Devil at 1 p.m. PST for some more Vecna Eva Ruin. Wednesday, keep your eyes out on my Blue Sky, as there might be something funny happening, which is just at Xanilus Grim. Then Thursday, twitch.tv/MontyGlue at 7 p.m. PST for some Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Then back on for Friday, back on Distortion Devil's channel, twitch.tv/Distortion Devil at 3:30 p.m. PST for some Cassador's Guide to the Cosmos, run by the lovely Leah here, and also starring one Saris here. And then Saturday, twitch.tv/The Unexpectables, we have Gateway. No, we don't. We're off this week. We'll have something. Just keep a lookout. And then not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, right back here. That's me.
Zane, you gotta pass it.
Oh, right. Leah.
Redemption! I did it on my first. I am Amusing Thalia. Leah. I stream on Mondays and Tuesdays on my channel at Amusing Thalia. Mondays in the mid-afternoon ish time in the US times. We do some just random kind of rotating TTRPG stuff, either video games inspired by or trying out new TTRPG systems. I run that with lovely friends Aqua Sylph and Key Ink Ray. Other than that, I do a difficult game on Tuesday, some sort of game that has a high difficulty curve. It depends. Other than that, you can find me ping-ponging around on other people's channels, like Distortion Devil on Friday, where I run Cassador's Guide to the Cosmos. And then I'm here, and these are all cool people that you should also all follow as well, including Skelly Alpha.
Your turn.
I know.
Your turn.
Um,
Go.
Hi, I'm Scaly Alpha. I stream on the Twitch and can be found on the Blue Sky under the same name. I do a lot of crafty survival types, art, and tabletop. This week, tomorrow, we're going to be going back into playing the off-fan game with Saris and Pepper. God, we got to be nearing the end at this point. Shit's getting real.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Shit's getting real. On Wednesday, I'm going to be doing starting a long playthrough of Control with Mocking Moth. And Friday, I'm going to be here again doing Outlaws Gambit with Vaughn and crew. Other than that, I got the rest of the schedule posted both in my Discord and in on Blue Sky. So if you want to see what's coming up, feel free to give those a check. And that's it for me. So that would be passing, I guess, over to Saris, I believe, at this point.
I think so. Hello. Find me all over the internet as TixTixel, where I will be literally in about 5 minutes posting some art. Other than that, you can find me tomorrow, as just now mentioned, at Scaly's channel, where we will be having a incredibly stressful, scrunkly cat afternoon. Then, of course, we beeline it over to Friday, where we will be resuming Cazador's Guide to the Cosmos. We will have a off week this week for No Love Word Extra. I'm so sorry, my job is overworking me, and unfortunately, I need the paycheck. But
Why don't you turn
that...
into a Southern Belle?
I mean,
That's my job on Friday.
I mean, if you would like me to be a Southern Belle, I can, in fact, do that for you.
Damn.
Oh, we
Alright.
got some
Alright,
Southern
alright.
Belle now.
I'll wait.
Well, I would say that it's quite a pleasure to meet you. If you're, are you debutante as well?
I do believe that I am, and I am blessed and pleasured to be here this evening. But that is all from me, to which I get to pass the baton over, or I'm sorry, the talking skull over to the one and only Burnout Vaughn.
Yes, as I just pointed out in chat, half my streams are just excuses for me to hang out with really cool and talented artists and then make them introduce themselves to each other. So yeah. But hey, you've already found me here at twitch.tv/BurnoutVaughn. You can find me on Blue Sky and YouTube at Burnout Vaughn and over on Patreon at Burnout's Bar. Like they said, this week, all I've got is Outlaws Gambit on Friday, which I'm looking forward to. But I have no idea what will happen. Sometimes I now will stream if I'm in a multiplayer game with people and I have the time. So that might happen, but that'll be spur of the moment stuff. So without much else to say, though, we're going to keep the love train going on to one Distortion Debaru. So what should our rate message be?
God damn it, Ian. That is a reference for the stream that we're going into.
It sure is.
It
It
too.
sure is.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, thank you all for coming out. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. We love you. Bye-bye.
Fare thee well.
Bye.